barricades whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood, blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall, one wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
All right, welcome. I always got to make sure that the microphone is turned on. Let's get a 1 or something in the chat just to let me know that my microphone is working and that you don't like, dude, your mouth's moving, but you're not saying anything. So it's get okay, good. Got audio, fantastic. Tonight, by the way, if you hang out for a little bit, I think there's going to be some really deep shit tonight, a deep dive that we're going to go into. I think live we'll do a deep dive. I'm a little hesitant about it. I've got a very, very big video coming out tomorrow morning that I'm planning on releasing tomorrow morning. I have a lot of irons in the fire right now, but some of the stuff that I want to talk about tonight, both in the Idaho 4 case and possibly if we have time and we don't spend forever on this, which we might, some Charlie Kirk deep shit as well. And so a lot of stuff going on. Very, very, very busy times. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. I look a little blurry on the screen. Like, is that me or is that just, maybe it's just my eyes? Because like, you know, sometimes I have good days, I have bad days. But anyways, point being is that I want to say hi to some people. I want to bring up my panels. We got a good panel going already. We've got Robin backstage. We've got Jason Estes from Estes Crime Maze backstage. We got 1-1 backstage as well. Joe from State of the Deep has already told me he's running a little behind, but he will be here as well. I told him I'd try to stall a little bit before I got into the Idaho 4 stuff this evening because I got some big shit to discuss, some of which I don't have it all laid out yet, but I got some new shit that I want to show you that I'm working on that are going to tease a big video coming out tomorrow morning. And again, lots of stuff going on. So let me say hi to some people real quick. Penny, by the way, in the chat, look at this. Penny says, hello from Oregon. Now, I know enough, Penny, to know that you're from Idaho, so you must be fooling me here. Now, I know you're on a vacation trip or whatever, so welcome from Oregon. I was just teasing you about that, but it's funny watching you always say Idaho, 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 and all of a sudden you're like, hello from Oregon. And I'm like, oh, how interesting. So yes, I think you're out and about. So thank you for checking in from Oregon, wherever you are right now. I think I might know where you're at, but I can't say because I don't want to give away your location in case they hunt you down like a rabid dog. Essie, welcome for being in the house as well. Zach M says Oregon homegrown here. Very cool. Love the Oregonians. I've been a long time Washingtonian. Now I'm an Oregonian. I love the whole Pacific Northwest, so it's very cool being in this area. And I love it when you guys tell me where you guys are checking in from. Amanda is that West Virginia? I have a hard time not doing the birdie thing. West Virginia. I can't do it like he does, which is why I shouldn't even have attempted that. But the point being is that he always goes into the West Virginia thing when he sees Amanda. 1111, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. That's got to be a hard choice, 1111. I think Birdie might still be alive right now. And I always wonder, like half my audience is Birdie fans. So when the two of us are butting up against each other, it's always a surprise to see who will show up and who will not show up. So thank you, 1111, for giving me the grace of your presence for this moment. And again, no shine taken away from Birdie. Birdie's amazing. It just happens to be, we both, this is the best time for both of us, really. And so there's a little overlap. I think what's good about it is Birdie sometimes will end his show while we're still kind of going strong, and some people can come over and hang out with us as well. So very cool. And what else do we got in here? We got Amanda B in the house. Again, our great graphics support on Amanda B and other parts that she does. She does much more than graphics. By the way, I've got a big video working in the background that I'm working on, and Amanda is an aficionado on this case. I was like, hey, people keep saying to ask you because you know the timeline. You're like, fuck yeah, I got the timeline. I got it all written out in a PDF. Let me send you the notes. And I'm like, wow, we've got good people. So she's not just pretty graphics. She also has a lot of good shit that we're helping. And I want to say, by the way, before I get too far into this, and I'm going to bring up my guests soon. I know this is all part of the monologue and they're like, dude, never shuts up. But I don't want to take credit for what's happening. So, and what I say by what's happening, big things I think are potentially on the brew in the Idaho 4 case. I think there's some people that are on the verge of breaking some major parts of this case, and it may change everything. And I'm not trying to take credit for it. I'm just I'm good at explaining it in simple terms and laying it out so that you can understand from start to finish. I should take Penny's comment off screen. She's got a lot of real estate time on that. But the point being is that that's my gift, I guess, if you will, is I can tell the story and I can lay it out in a way that you can understand. Sometimes people have been like, so-and-so has been talking about that for months. Yes, and it also sometimes confuses people. So my gift is to be able to lay it out in a way that I think will make sense to you. And so that's what I'm going to try to do here as we start to put together these pieces, which is an amazing, crazy potential story that, in my opinion, makes much more sense than the incel who just decided he couldn't have some girl and had to go kill 4 of 6 people in a house and leave a couple of them alive. That story doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a little bedtime story that makes a lot more sense, in my opinion. We'll get into a little bit of that. I'm going to do some teasers tonight. You're not going to hear it all laid out from start to finish tonight, but we're working on it. All right. What else do we have in the house? Do we have any other hellos to say? Again, let me know if you're checking in from someplace exotic, like, Michigan, whatever the case may. It doesn't have to be exotic. It could be Michigan. It could be wherever. Just let me know what you're seeing. We got, just looking through here, make sure we don't got any hellos. I know we've got more people than I said. Lisa Marie, hey, DA, thanks for saying hi. That's cool. Thank you very much. Love seeing different names checking in and saying hi. And she's saying hi to several people in the room, like Robin and so on. So welcome to the show. Cheryl Fitzgerald, as often is the case. Cheryl, yeah, good to see you again. I was going to say, I have some communications outside of this channel with Cheryl, and I'm waiting breathlessly to continue our conversation. I invite people to get to know me on a personal level. I like to connect with people, so that's a very cool. Anne-Marie Macridis. Anne-Marie McRidis from Arizona. I really slaughtered your name. So freaking sorry. Slaughtered it. I mean, usually I do okay, but I think I slaughtered the hell out of it. Arizona. Welcome from Arizona. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona years ago. I loved that. It was a great thing. Phoenix area, Scottsdale, Arizona was a beautiful place. What else do we got here? Any others here? We got Latitude. Hey, everyone. That's a new name. I don't remember seeing Latitude before, so welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, by the way, make sure that if you have a burning question, the whole idea behind lives is interaction, and you can be able to ask questions. So this is your time to do that. Stay tight and frosty. Panel, I'm getting to you. I just want to get through some hellos and recognize the people who are here. Ashley says hello, DA, and I think we're caught up for the most part with that. So Robin, let's bring you on screen. It should, I think, be Robin and I. Let me unmute your microphone. All right, so Robin, are you there?
I am here. Hello, everyone.
In fact, when I bring up a panel guest, I'm going to give you full screen. Wave a minute for me because I got a secret that I'm going to do with it. Yeah, fantastic. I got some stuff that I'm going to do later on with our stuff. All right, I'll let you go back to a normal screen for a minute. Anything exciting going on in your world? I know you had some personal issues going on. You weren't feeling so well, and we were kind of had a misfire with this live the other night. You doing okay?
I'm much better now, and I'm so sorry that happened. Believe me, it was not anything I had planned, but I'm feeling much better now, and looking forward to everything that's coming this week. So you guys are not going to want to miss a second of it. So
yeah, very cool. Thank you. And by the way, Latitude said they're not new here. They want to know if I have an email address. There's a new development in Washington law regarding street cams. Love to hear that. Ooh. So my address is devilsadvocates2024@gmail.com. So I don't know, Robin, if you want to type that into the chat, but it probably don't need it, but you could cut and paste if you do that. So devilsadvocates2024@gmail.com. Robin and I both manage that box. So throw us an email there, and I would love to hear what you have to say on that. That sounds very cool. And good thing that you're here. You're feeling better, Robin. Let's bring up in the order that they arrived. I will bring up Jason Estes and bring him to screen, I think. What's going on? Estes Crime Maze?
Well, let me just get comfortable. Oh,
nice. Nice. Flexing the guns on camera.
Well, I've hardly worked out in 4 months because of injuries, but that will change because, as you know, thanks to you guys supporting me, I've got a boxing match hopefully one day with Pavarotti.
With the toddler fights, right? Yeah, and you're big into fitness, right? You do a lot of fitness stuff. You got other channels and stuff with the fitness related and stuff.
Absolutely, yes. Jason Fitness, Captain Music, a music channel that unfortunately I haven't done videos in quite a long time because I haven't had proper equipment. And Jason Fitness Captain Workouts, but I need a professional videographer, preferably to film me, to polish these up for the audiences out there to demonstrate exercises. We'll get there.
You can do some some aerobic workout dances and and wear some spandex and do
I never thought of that way. Okay. You got a crazy imagination, Lee. Isn't that crazy? Robin, what he said? What's that?
If you're of a certain age, you might remember a guy. There was a fad when I was growing up. There was a fad. Billy Blanks, I think, was his name, in Taibo. Right? He was this big black dude, and he would do Taibo kickboxing shit, and it was on TV all over the place. Oh yeah, freaking. So that's how I'm picturing you. I'm picturing you in the spandex. You got your own show. You're doing the Taibo workouts, getting everybody all excited about it.
I hope my friends heard what you said, because I had a couple of friends hopefully coming on the chat today. Hopefully Don maybe and Dave and a few other people. So they'll get a kick out of what you're saying right now.
See, Zach went further back than I did. Zach went to Richard Simmons. Now that's way back. Richard Simmons was before Billy Blanks.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah, I remember Richard sweating to the oldies. Richard Simmons. Yeah, didn't he just die like a decade ago, or I don't know how long ago he died?
I think it was just a few years ago, wasn't it? Was it a decade?
Yeah, no, I said he just died a decade ago. Everything moves fast when you're old, so it feels like it was. It feels like it was yesterday, but I'm like, as soon as I said yesterday, I'm thinking, shit, that probably was a decade ago.
He had a great soul, old soul there, Richard Simmons. God love. Hopefully, he lives forever. We know on another plane if it exists. He
did seem to be a very high energy, spunky person. I have to wonder if he was always like that 24/7 or if that was all show. Seems like that's the way he just always was and lived his life. So seems like a good soul there, but I don't know anything about his personal life. So I'll find out later on. Richard Simmons was a serial killer and he had us all fooled. I'm going to bring one up on stage. I'm going to unmute his mic and bring him up on stage. And I'm going to have to remove for one. How you doing? I'm going to remove some stuff from your face so you're not covered. Go ahead and talk to us.
Hello, Den. How is everyone? Hi, Robin. Hi, Esty. Hi, Lee.
Hey.
How is everyone on this fabulous Tuesday night?
I'm feeling pretty froggy. It sounded like you guys have some exciting stuff going on in the New York area. You got some kind of high-speed chase thing going on or some crazy shit? Like that's probably every day of the week, right? But
Just a routine robbery, stolen car,
routine. It's a New York thing.
Yeah, it's a New York thing. Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you on as well. For those people who are unfamiliar a little bit with the show, let me state a couple more things real quick because we are going to get into the cases that I follow, but let me explain a little bit what's going on with this whole panel kind of thing and how we're moving as a group. We're figuring this out organically. The show is building. And so my channel, The Devil's Advocates, focuses on high-profile true crime cases in which it seems like we've forgotten the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. And so I shed light on the mainstream narrative shaping of a story, telling you how you should feel about something before the person even steps into the courtroom for their first day of trial. Those are the ones that I tend to focus on the most. What are you doing there, Estes, looking around like that?
I'm sorry, I'm terrible. I was looking at my pan, just wondering, paranoid, is it distracting? I'm sorry, I'm listening to you.
It's all good. I thought you were getting ready to run when I said something.
No.
But anyway, so that's my show. My show focuses, and I do a lot of legal document breakdowns, police report breakdowns. I have attorneys on the show from time to time. I've interviewed attorneys, multiple attorneys, 3 attorneys now. I think I've had Cynthia Thornton, Ali Benevento, and John Ray on my show. And Ali Benevento, I still consider a regular friend of the show, even though she's super busy and I'm super busy, but we still communicate from time to time. So you should see Ali Benevento on from time to time to give us some legal breakdowns and advice on things in the future as well. John Ray, I'm kind of, I expect to have him on the show as well. He agreed to come on and do more interviews with us. So you should see those more. Again, not representing any particular police department, but he is law enforcement of 20 something years. How many years is it, 1-1, for your career? 22 years. We also have other people in the channel. It seems like we've always had, since I started this channel, some kind of law enforcement presence, people that have come in and say, hey, I'm a law officer, and they have opinions about it. 1-1 has kind of befriended the show quite a bit, and myself befriended me. So now we're becoming friends, and it's a great relationship and a major part of the show. And then, Estes Crime Maze, he kind of called me out one day, hey, Devil's Advocates, why don't you come on and talk about this? Nobody actually died in Idaho for it's all an extraction thing, and you have to know that, right? Let's talk about it. And it was kind of busting my nuts. Jason and I worked out how to engage with each other, and now he's a regular part of the show, and he represents a lot of the times the idea that some of these things might just be a complete psyop. People might be in witness protection. It might be a big cover up for something much bigger. Estes has kind of become our guy to kind of help walk us through some of those theories that maybe I would never say they are not possible, but I don't cover them as much. As you know, I find some specific threads that I want to pull, and I pull the shit out of those threads as much as I can, and I leave some of those other areas for other people. So that's why we have a panel of guests. So thank you all for being on my show tonight. Again, Joe from State of the Deep, he's got a Substack page called State of the Deep. He'll be coming on here shortly. So anything you guys want to say to the crowd, to the whatever, before I start pulling up my slides and explaining the cases and start diving into? And again, I'm trying to delay a little bit on the Idaho 4 for the sake of Joe, because I know he really wants to talk Idaho 4.
Yeah.
I know he also wants to talk Charlie Kirk, but what's going on?
I was going to say, I believe Richard Simmons, he died apparently a few years ago, but I think it was an extraction.
Estes, was Richard Simmons really dead, or was this an extraction removal?
I gotta say, I think I might agree
with
with 1-1. Maybe he was extracted, Richard Simmons. True crime. No.
I mean, you never know. By the way, there was a clip I might play it before the Idaho 4 stuff. There was a clip by Erica Kirk about, we talked about the Richard Simmons, and hopefully he's still out there watching over the kind of thing. And there was this clip about Erica talking about Charlie Kirk watching over us all, and the president of the United States saying that Charlie's watching over all of us in this nation. I thought that was a little weird and creepy. I got a clip about that where I show that, apparently Charlie Kirk is up in heaven watching over everyone on planet Earth, I guess, and making sure we're all doing okay. I get a little cynical with that shit, but sorry.
Or Puerto Rico, right?
And I don't, or Puerto Rico, if it's an extraction event, he's on the beach of Puerto Rico. And I don't say that to be offensive to the Christian audience, although, as you know, I probably don't hold a Christian audience. Let's be fair. By now, I've probably lost every single person that has any kind of religious backbone because I swear too much. I like tiggle bitties. I got all kinds of issues. I'm not family friendly. And so Christians checked out a long time ago, but there's a few hanger on that would be like, devil's advocate, it'd be nice if you didn't kind of lean on the whole devil thing too much more. But anyways, so for
I
one,
could
it's
do
worth.
a video one day and say, why Christians, in my opinion, should listen to the amazing devil advocates, and go on the show. Check it out.
See, Jeff H. I think Jeff H. and I have a running love-hate relationship. Jeff H. He used to come in. Jeff H. used to come in and bust my nuts on a regular basis. But Jeff H. says, "Hey, I'm a Christian and I watch you. So thank you so much for that." I do think that I have met some of the coolest Christians in the world. By the way, just full disclaimer, I spent most of my life as a Christian. So I was born and raised Christian. My father was a pastor. So it's not like I'm talking like I've never been there, done that. But I've met some really bad Christians that are worse than non-Christians, and I've met some really good people as well. So it's not a statement about religion, but I just know that when me growing up conservative Christian, we avoided people like myself, like the plague. So now that I'm myself, I'm like, yeah, Christians aren't going to dig my thing, and I get that. So. Anyways, Jeff H is like, never hated you, Lee. Disagree a lot, but that happens. And yeah, and that's what I love the most. I really, really enjoy civil discourse and polite disagreements. As long as we keep it polite and civil, everybody's welcome to disagree with me all day long, every day, and twice on Sunday. Thank you, Hitler. I still give you credit every time I say that phrase. All right, let's pull up on screen some of the slides and some of that shit. That's our video I need to remove from the screen. And I will try to do I have to do a screen share, and then I have to tell it that I want to. It'd be nice if I was more polished with this shit, but I am not. So live with it. All right, so let's see. What do we got? How come it's not on screen? Add to the stage. How's that? There is that evil son of a bitch with that demon shit and the devil and the imp. Again, I do kind of like art, and I like this kind of the color schemes, the black and the oranges and the reds. So don't take it too personally. Again, for those who haven't made the connection, playing devil's advocates with something, it has nothing to do with religion. It literally is taking a position in which you think your position's really strong, and then somebody will come along and say, let me play devil's advocates with that position. What if it didn't happen that way? What if this? And in a lot of ways, the devil's advocates helps a person refine their own argument. By having somebody challenge your argument, you make your argument stronger. So I will play devil's advocates with the mainstream media narrative, sometimes law enforcement's narrative, sometimes the prosecution's narrative, just because I want to make them a stronger team. I'm going to help you refine your argument. You tell us it's this way. What if it didn't happen that way? I'm going to bust your nuts just to play devil's advocates. And then you can explain to us why I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. That's a Charlie Kirk thing. Prove me wrong. But anyways, that's kind of my shtick. That's kind of my deal. So let's go through some of these slides and cover really quickly some of the highlights of what's going on. Again, I'm trying to do a nightly show now. I used to be all over the place and people would be like, I don't know when Devil's Advocate's on. I'm trying to do it nightly now, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And a lot's going on in the next few days where we're going to have to test Robin running the show for me as a co-producer of this show. She's going to try to run the show on nights that I'm out of town. And I'm going to try to dial in as a guest to my own show. So that part of me, I realized the first time we did this and I let Joe take over my show for a short period of time, I realized I was mother henning my show. Like I was terrified to watch somebody take over my show.
Yeah. You sabotaged us.
I know. I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, you got to stop watching. Stop watching. Just let them do their thing. I was mother henning my own show.
We were having
so-
we were having a great discussion for about 15 minutes after, and we realized, wait, the chat is gone.
Well, and let me explain a little bit what happened. So again, we were trying to do that live the other night with Joe running it as a dry run for what's going to happen. Joe and I are going on a trip. We're going to talk about that on the slide here. We're going to go on a trip, and we're going to remote in from another location. And so I wanted to be able to join my own show as a guest. So Robin fired up, or actually this was Joe, I think, that fired it up. Joe fired up the thing, and I invited, here's the thing, I invited my personal email account to be a guest. And I joined from my phone via the link sent to my personal email account. For some reason, I didn't think this would happen. It logged me in as the owner of the studio. And when I decided I was going to, hey, good night, everybody, I hit the end live stream button and killed everything for everybody. So that was a fail. That's how we're not going to do it next time. I'm not going to end the live stream for everybody as soon as I say goodbye and let the show continue on. So just wanted to let you know, Birdie and I had a really, for those who don't know, Birdie Bombshells, a lot of my audience are Birdie Bombshell fans. He may be going live right now. So if you are here and you're a fan of his, mucho gracias for picking me tonight to watch. But we were on live last night, and in lieu of my nightly show. So on Monday nights, I am a regular thing with Birdie Bombshells. However, we co-stream, so you can still remember to come to me. But unfortunately, we go an hour earlier on Mondays, if that all makes sense. So he starts at 5 my time. And so on Monday nights, I start a little earlier. But I do co-stream so you can watch me. We had a great show last night. When Birdie's live, I swear, that guy could turn on his microphone and say, I just decided to turn on my microphone, and like 700 people will show up to watch him. I don't have those kind of numbers, but last night we had an enormous show. He had a crap ton of people there. I also had one of my highest numbers on my side. And then Pavarotti, of all people, showed up while we were talking Idaho 4. Bubbly Waters showed up when we were talking Idaho 4.
Really?
I think Estes Crime Maze dialed in at some point. One may have dialed. It was everybody who was everybody was starting to show up in the Idaho 4 case. And so it was pretty exciting. We got a little bit of a shout out in the chat from Pavarotti saying that he likes Birdie and I like you too, DA. So I got second billing.
Yeah.
It's okay. I get it. But it was cool. Pavarotti stepped in and said, like you guys are really passionate about the case. I want you to understand, for those who have watched me, sometimes I have issues with things that Pavarotti said, but I have nothing but respect for Pavarotti, just like I have nothing for respect for Lana or any other people who go down rabbit holes that I'm not personally going down. I think it's fantastic that as a community, we're all pulling our own threads and weaving a story. And I think that at the end, as I'm telling you, there's some big shit coming down the pike. I think several of us who are pulling threads are going to find our stories interweaving, and it's going to all connect, and it's going to be the freaking story of the decades. It could be enormous. And I think those individual things that we've been working on are going to start coming together, and you're going to see a cohesive story that makes sense. Certainly, I think more than the story that mainstream media told you. And you'll just have to decide for yourself. But again, as each one of us independent researchers work, I would hope that we all have respect for each other, understand that we have different things that intuitively we're working on, and we think we're on the right on. And it could, at the end of the day, be that several of us are right, and it all kind of dovetails and winds together. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of those things tonight. In addition, I'm going on location with Joe from State of the Deep. We've got a big Idaho 4 trip coming. So it's the Idaho 4 anniversary tour. We're going to be driving routes. Just to give you a teaser, a heads up, we're going to drive the supposed route that Brian Koberger took that night to Wawaway Park instead of to the house like people say that he went. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do that drive. We're going to go to Wawaway Park and put cameras on there. We're going to drive the Snake River run from Wawaway Park down to Clarkston. We're gonna film on location where the Costco is, or all those things. We're gonna walk you through on camera on long form video for those who are interested. So I will say this. Truncated versions of all that are going to end up on a public video somewhere at some point. But if you are a member for $2.99, shameless plug for my membership. If you're a member, I'm going to post a lot of raw footage. So if you're the kind of person who wants to see raw footage of us walking around and talking shit out and what we see, some of that stuff will be cut down for public stuff. But if you want the raw footage, make sure to sign up as a member. Maybe you'll even get lucky tonight, and somebody who's here will gift you a membership. But better yet, if you just spend $3, it's like less than a cup of coffee. Then you can watch raw footage. I also have a Discord channel to let you know that has a sub channel called Idaho 4 Trip or something like that, and I'll be doing regular. Robin, what is the name of the channel? Do you know the name of that channel in Discord? Anyways. You were shaking your head no, so I thought you were correcting me on the title of the channel. But
no, you're fine. You're fine.
So anyways, I'm going to be doing kind of like a Twitter feed, right? I'll be giving you regular updates of what's going on and where we're going and stuff like that. Maybe we won't telegraph every single place that we're going to be at exactly what time, so that somebody doesn't come shoot us or stab us on the street corner somewhere in that area and say, hey, here's where I'm going to be in 5 minutes. Come kill me. Maybe we won't do that, but you will get regular updates from us in the field, and we'll show you stuff. We're going to walk some stuff. I'm going to take I hate the word fan. Subscribers participation. If I'm there and you're like, hey, could you walk from the Queen Apartments, the Queen Road Apartments to the 1122 King Road residence house and film that walk and time it, we'll do that for you, and things like that. So make sure you participate with that and take advantage of that. It's going to be an interesting thing. We will not pound on people's doors and get in people's faces and do stuff that's going to be shameful and disrespectful to the families and the victims and those people who live there. We plan on being relatively incognito, even though you, as watchers of the show, will be able to have some representatives, if you will, in the area. So we're taking a risk letting you know all that stuff ahead of time. All right. So there's the deal. That's this slide. Now we're at the whole my cases. Here are the 5 cases I cover. Each one of my panelists, by the way, have stories that they're more or less interested in. Let me see if I could guess. Robin, I think because as a co-producer of the show, she's pretty much into every single case I'm following. But do you have a favorite or two, Robin?
Well, I would have to say, of course, Idaho 4, but also the LISK case is near and dear to my heart. So. Yeah. And I think you might have actually started to prod me into the LISK case in the first place. I wasn't really tracking it. I think you might have been the one that said, you should look into this case. And then, I think that's what happened. And then what happened was I watched a documentary on Netflix called Gone Girls, I think it was. And episode 2 got into allegations of massive police corruption, the district attorney being corrupt. And I went, oh my God, this case is so me. I am all over that shit. And then I took a trip to New York and I met NYPD police officers and I did cool shit. And I drove the dumping locations of the Gilgo 4 bodies and my whole life has changed. I think because you said you should look into the LISK case. So thank you so much, Robin, for that. Any other favorites? You got Idaho 4 and the LISK case are probably your favorites, right? They're my favorite. They're all my favorites, but especially those 2, I will say.
I know Estes Crime Maze, and maybe I should put us in a panel view. Estes, I know when we met, it was all Idaho 4. It was all 100% Idaho 4. I think you're branching into, or just as maybe just as interested in the Charlie Kirk situation as well. What would you rate your favorite cases of those 5 I had on screen? And
it's got to be Idaho 4 number 1, partly because, as you said, we've been at this, from the get-go, and it's a absolutely crazy, wild, fascinating case. Words can't even describe. And then right behind that is Charlie Kirk, and your favorite, I think, is your second favorite, or maybe your number 1. Sometimes it's Luigi Mangione. My Italian friend said, say it Mangione, I think is what he said.
Mangione.
So Mangione, that's it. Thanks. And those would be my top right now. And the other ones are pretty fascinating on their own. And, the Mickey Steins and Rex Huberman is grotesque what this guy is alleged to have done.
Yeah. So that, and I think that's great. And I hope in time, Estes, I'll get you roped in more and more to the Rex Heuermann, Mickey Steins cases. I mean, you're marginally interested. I'm hoping that you're going to get much more than marginally interested, because I think my audience enjoys watching you be part of this show. To be fair, I don't think Idaho 4 is going to die anytime soon. I think there's too many unanswered questions, and I think we're getting close to actually answering some of the questions. And so that's going to be exciting if it doesn't get us all killed. By the way,
don't say that.
I'll do the disclaimer about getting myself killed when we start the official Idaho 4 thing, because I do want to say a few words about that. So let's go to 1-1. 1-1. my list is on the screen. What do you think?
Yeah.
What are your favorites of those cases, and which ones aren't like really all that interesting to you, or whatever?
I'm probably interested in all of them. If I had to probably pick a favorite, I mean, obviously there's a lot more content that comes out about Idaho 4. I mean, it seems every day there's something new or something else, some other rabbit hole to go down. So still highly interested in Idaho 4. But me personally, even though I do like doing the deep dive into Idaho 4 and theorizing and going overall, looking at the interviews and evaluating all this stuff, I'd probably say the LISK case still is a little near and dear to my heart. I did grow up 7 minutes from where Rex Horman lives.
Yeah.
Fact that he took the Long Island Railroad to work back and forth. I mean, I've been, my whole life I've been on, used the Long Island Railroad. The area that you and I took a little tour of the dumping of the bodies.
Yeah.
Not too far from. Although when I was younger, I didn't really do too much per se around Gilgo Beach, but I've been to Jones Beach in that area, which is just a few minutes away. I've been there many, many times for concerts and gone to the beach and whatever. So all these areas, I've been to Suffolk County many, I live right there many, many times. So it's just, close to what, right where I live. So I'd say LISK, kind of LISK and the Idaho 4 kind of like hand in hand.
Yeah. And I was so excited to come out there. It does put a different perspective when I literally walked. I walked past Rex Heuermann's house. I videotaped it. I didn't videotape it as much as I should have. I mean, literally, I'm trying to be so respectful to people in the neighborhood. I didn't want to be one of those gawkers, and so I just kind of walked past the house and I turned sideways to get my chest camera on the thing and said, "There's his house, okay," and then I left. Because there's families out there walking their kids and stuff like that, and I didn't want to be the big gawker. I probably need to grow a set of cojones if I'm going to be an investigative journalist, because I'm just going to have to, not be so concerned about what everybody thinks about me. But I'm working on that. I think there's going to be a big step in that right direction on this Idaho trip, to be honest with you. So
And
we'll see what
and then the big thing with the LISK case too. Obviously, I know how you feel, and I'm sure you'll make a few comments about it. I'm just super fascinated about John Ray. I wish we could. I wish we could hire him to get involved with the Idaho, the Idaho 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Ray is a hell of a character and a super fearless warrior, if you will, for asking questions that people are afraid to ask. He doesn't have any problem getting in front of a camera and telling people, "Hey, this is what I think." And it may, I hope that relationship will get fostered. I hope I can stay on a positive side with him. I have no reason to think not, but we'll see. I just know that when I went and sat, when I came out to see you, in New York and put boots on the ground in the whole area, I sat in his office and we talked like two blokes just sitting there talking about the case. And it was the most surreal thing in the world to talk to somebody who's that intimately involved with the case, to sit in his office and just talk about the DA and the defendant, or the defense attorney for Rex Heuermann and Rex, and theories that he has. And wow, that was a hell of a moment.
And one correlation I wanted to just mention. I mean, it's if you think about it, just from outside the box. Although the Rex Heuermann, Rex case is extremely different than the Idaho case. We know 100% obviously that the Rex case involves sexual crimes and whatnot, and
Torture.
escorts and torture and all that. It doesn't seem like the Idaho 4 case has the sexual element. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I know there's some theories that it does. The one thing that that I find that's very interesting is that both cases have there's a 911 call that obviously there's something happens is always lawyers will always tell you when an incident happens they always get pivotal info right from a 911 call what's going on. So that's not anything that's not ordinary or typical of any incident that happens. But what's so interesting with this is obviously the Idaho 4 911 call is super interesting. The delay in the call and everything that went on with that evaluating that call, and then correlating that to the LISK case. Obviously the big thing with that case was John Ray finally getting the courts and Shannon's mother finally being able to hear the 911 call. So it's like the 911 call was like pivotal in like both cases.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's like, although we don't know exactly like really from, the Idaho 4 case, what does the 911 call really tell us? What is it? We know that there's stuff that's not normal. Like something is definitely off with that call, whether it's partially staged or it still something is off with that call. And then obviously, Suffolk County and the courts trying to hide the Shannon's 911 call. Just to me, super interesting that both these cases,
Yeah, and the point you're making is that there's two of my cases where the 911 call is a critical piece of the story, right? Why, for example, in Idaho 4, did it take 8.5, 9 hours or whatever it was for the survivors to call 911? When it does happen, why does it seem like the 911 call doesn't match up with what we know to be true? In the case of the Long Island serial killer case, the 911 call that we're talking about is the disappearance of Shannon Gilbert, in which she called 911 and said that they're trying to kill me. And then later on, the police said, well, there's nobody trying to kill her. She was just out of her mind on drugs and she drowned in a swamp. But in the search for Shannon Gilbert, it led to the discovery of the Gilgo 4, which is now up to 7 bodies, allegedly Rex Heuermann. There's allegations that Rex Heuermann may have been involved with Shannon Gilbert in the past due to affidavits that John Ray has taken, that he may have met Shannon Gilbert before. Was he there? Was he involved? Was there somebody, Peter Hackett, a person who was involved with the police department in Suffolk County in a forensics kind of capacity or a medical doctor capacity? He saw Shannon Gilbert that night and said, hey, I treated her and sent her on her way, and then she ended up dead. Oops. And anyways, that case is nuts. It took over 3 years, I think, for John Ray to get the 911 calls on what they said was an accidental drowning. Why, on God's name, would you fight somebody for 3 years on getting the 911 tape if there's nothing to see there and it's an accidental drowning? That should be a tip off right now that there's something going wrong in that case. But
again, the super crazy thing with Shannon is, again, her comment in that 911 case that they're trying to get me. So
yes, right.
I know they haven't. I know they haven't charged Rex with, there's no DNA evidence yet, or anything linking exactly him to her. But I find it super interesting that because someone trying to get you, you call 911, you're not going to randomly say they're trying to get me or they're trying to kill me. So
what did you have, Estes? Look, you tried to break in there. Did you lose your thought, or do you have it still?
Yeah, just a quick question on Rex, if I may. I wanted to ask you just simply: is his house as shoddy when you looked at it as it is in the media and how they portrayed the house there? What you see?
Worse now, because they've literally taken doors off inside the house and stacked them up against the house. So now it's a shithole yard compared to the rest of the neighborhood. The house is peeling and weathered compared to the rest of the neighborhood. And now you've got literally debris that's been taken out of the house and kind of stacked up against the side of the house. So yeah, it looks like a huge eyesore. And that's what people said in the area was weird about the whole thing, is that was his family home, the place that he grew up and lived in. He was into architecture, not necessarily an architect by trade, but he was into architecture. That's kind of confusing. But the point being is that in his profession, you would think that he would have a nicer place, and his place in that neighborhood was a dump compared to everything else. So yes, it's true. That place was not kept up compared to the rest of the house. The neighborhood is a very nice neighborhood. All the houses are in good shape. It's again, I saw people pushing toddlers, strollers, babies, and stuff like that, playing with their kids. Very, very family. It's weird to think that the allegation is that Rex Heuermann literally would bring prostitutes into his house, torture and kill them potentially in the basement, right here in a neighborhood where people are pushing their kids and playing basketball out in their in their driveway. It's crazy.
If you're living that kind of, just going into the psychology a little bit, what do I know? But that if he's living that kind of depraved lifestyle, he doesn't give a shit when you think about it, probably, of upkeeping his property and what it looks like, and then he's just doing his thing.
He's got other things on his mind.
What do you mean? He redid his bathroom.
Oh, did he? Oh,
right. Yeah. Allegedly, probably because he was converting it to a kill room. But that's a whole nother stack of questions. And again, my interest before we get into we're going to get into Idaho 4. I think first. I've delayed as long as I can for Joe. I wanted Joe to be a part of this, but I think a lot of people still are here primarily for Idaho 4. So I want to hit that first, and then if we have time, we'll do Charlie Kirk and stuff like that. Yeah, what's up?
DA, can I ask you a question? If I may?
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you any feedback or on your amazing video with Joe, or another time?
Yeah, and guess who just joined us? Joe. Speak of the devil. No pun intended. Joe, give me a thumbs up if it's okay to bring you on stage right now. Is it okay? Are you ready? I don't have your microphone. I just have you. I'm just looking at you. So give me a thumbs up if you're okay to come on stage. He's kind of settling stuff out. It looks like a little bit still there. So he needs a moment. So go ahead. I think he's hearing us. So there's that. Go ahead and tell us what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I wanted to go with you first, Lee. Well, both of you did an excellent video. I don't want to sound too narcissistic, but I think you guys sort of took my lead, because even one calls me PSYOP man. But you guys did an excellent professional presentation. The slides, everything that I wish I could have done. I wish I could have been part of it, but I get it. You guys wanted to go one-on-one, the deep dive, and you did a fantastic job. I loved how, Lee, you described at one point during a PSYOP, relating it to true crime, of course, that you said in so many words, if you dehumanize someone and make them look like a monster, and then, of course, we can think Idaho 4, I think with Brian Kohlberger, Luigi Maggioni, I butchered his name probably, that if you make them look like a monster and not someone, who's a real person, then you can get away with almost anything you said, even murder, because you're not making people see them as a real person. And as you know, the CIA are excellent doing that. The feds at times through corporate media with CIA, the journalists, and that's exactly what we saw time and time again, and some YouTubers as well, unfortunately. But so I thought that was a great point you brought up, and then I could bring up some points about Joe when he gets on if he wants to hear it all.
Yeah, so let's and so Joe, did you got a thumbs up to let me know you're good to go? Okay, you're good to go. Let's add Joe to the stage. Let's make sure you.
Thanks for calling me PSYOP man 11.
What's
there,
up,
Joe?
everybody?
You.
Hey, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Thanks for coming on to the show again tonight.
Sorry, I'm late.
You've got a lot. You have a lot to do, sir, in the next 12 hours or so.
Yeah, I do. I got to be up crazy early because I have to drive 100 miles. It's actually like 140 miles to the airport in the morning, and Denver's a nightmare. So I got to get up super, super early. I still got to finish packing and all that stuff. So.
And for those who are in the conspiracy world, you're flying out of Denver International, right? The big conspiracy theory hub. There's so many stories and conspiracies around Denver International.
Yeah, the Freemason Airport.
Yeah. So you're in good space, and you're showing dedication to the cause because you're coming out here. We're gonna do a whirlwind tour of boots on the ground. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like literally, it's hours away. I'm tingling. I'm vibrating with excitement. This is gonna be pretty good stuff. I'm excited about it. By the way,
I hope you guys didn't forget to pack your breadcrumbs for Robin and PSYOP man and myself.
Maybe we should get a GPS for the trip. You know what I mean? We could pin
I forgot.
a location.
We got it covered.
Before we officially move into Coburger, Estes had something I think he wanted to ask you about the video that we did. He was busting. Estes has been, but get this, Joe. Estes been busting our nuts because we keep going and doing videos without him on topics that he loves with the Deep Devils thing. And I'm trying to explain to him, I'm like, look, Deep Devils is its own little animal. It's like it's a special show. But anyways, go ahead, Estes. Bust his nuts. He's open season.
It's more of a statement, Joe. As I said with Lee, you guys did an awesome job on PSYOP, explaining it, educating the public. I've been waiting for somebody to do that. I tried to do it in my own way, but again, you guys did a professional presentation. I love the slide with Nazi Germany. I'm sure the audience did. And I enjoyed the fact that one of my favorite lines from you was, I believe you said, you think the intelligence agencies are the operations arm of the banking cartel. And then you went on to say how they manipulate, people, the masses and behavior. So lots of great information. People should see that video. You guys got to get over there, watch the two go at it on SOP, even though I wish I was part of it. I hope one day I can be with the two of them. We'll do part 3 and we'll discuss tactical, operational, strategic, the 3 types of PSYOPs that way with the military. But thank you guys for putting that out and appreciate it. So
right on, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
And by the way, here's the thing, at the end of the day, this channel is, so the Deep Devils format, which is, again, it's a mashup. If you look behind Joe, he's got State of the Deep. That's his Substack baby. And his personal thing. And we want to help grow that as well. And then I've got Devils Advocates. So together we came up with Deep Devils, kind of a mashup between the two. And that was our idea early on. And we've been working that. It hasn't taken off like we want it yet. But here's the thing. The people who do watch that show tell us, oh my gosh, what you guys are doing is really cool. Don't stop doing it. So we're kind of riding out the storm. The problem is that when you live in the world of algorithms control everything, YouTube hasn't figured out how to handle Deep Devils, right? Because what YouTube sees is that most people who come to listen to me come to listen to Idaho 4. So when I talk about Luigi Mangione, boom, my numbers die. When I talk about LISK, my numbers die. When I talk about Deep Devils, my numbers die. Because right now, all YouTube seems to understand is the Idaho 4 people want to hear what you have to say, and we're not sure about these others. So we're building a thing. I've been assured that long-term, us having multiple true crime cases that we follow, YouTube will eventually catch up with us and figure the algorithm out and figure out that they need to push us to fans of true crime, not just Idaho 4 or whatever. So eventually those numbers will come up. But at the meantime, Joe and I are kind of like, man, it's too bad that more people don't get to watch these shows, because I think there's a lot of great shit there. But
once I get my State of the Deep first video out, I'll cross promote, the Deep Devils, because what I should hopefully have it. Hopefully you can help me kind of produce it a little bit when I'm there. I'll bring my laptop when I tomorrow, and what I do is a little bit different because I go way broad and I talk about stuff that I wouldn't talk about here per se, where I talk about what's the big, huge things that are going on that are actually happening, not what most people think is happening. What I believe, and I think I'm right, is actually happening. And Estes Crime Maze will, for sure, I'll get you on that show once I get it up and running, because that's going to be more of a broader look at different things, like what's happening in the world now and my takes on it. And that'll be a more bigger picture thing. I'm going to do a lot of stuff, tons of stuff it's not for everybody. And so I kind of stick within the boundaries with what DA and I do with Deep Devils. But once I get State of the Deep up and running, it's much bigger and it's almost ready to go.
And one more thing,
Joe,
I liked your shirt. Sorry, DA, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Go ahead, DA.
No, you go ahead.
I liked Joe's shirt, PSYOP. And I've been wanting my own shirt that says PSYOP for over a year, and I didn't take action. Part of it was money at times, and shame on me, but you guys watch out, because PSYOP, man, as one calls me, he's coming, and he's going to have a shirt one day, too, that says PSYOP.
Oh, yeah.
My brand. Anyway, sorry.
Speaking of that, See, speaking of that, I have to share with you something. It's kind of funny because we have a panel here, and we're starting to develop kind of inside jokes about us being this superhero panel of advocates. And I think, is this the one? Oh, I wanted to get that image to put up on screen of all of us as kind of the superhero thing, but I think I grabbed the wrong image. Crap. Do I have it saved? I wanted to show it to you because, again, you talking about the PSYOP man and stuff like that. Shit.
It's on Discord. You can, if you pull up Discord, it's on there.
All right. You guys talk for a second. I'm going to go grab it real quick because I really want to show it. I think it's funny as hell.
And the chat's not up on the screen, so I can't, you know.
Well, I'm trying to avoid your faces being overlapped, but do you not see the chat at all unless I have it up on screen? So I can put it up on screen.
Yeah, it's not up there now.
All right, here. There it is on screen. Give me a moment to go grab this image. I want to share it with people. I think it's funny shit.
It is
and
funny.
I think we're going to do something with it in there.
Oh,
let's see.
Amanda's just been killing it with the art, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yes, thanks, Amanda. You're very talented.
I feel bad. I put Amanda to work the other day.
How did you put her to work?
She was working. Yeah, she was working all day, or a good part of the day, like to get it right.
Oh, you were giving her some input or something?
Yeah.
Did she put it in Den Art, or did she put it in our private Minions channel?
I don't think she put it in Den Art yet.
One sent it to me on Discord.
Yeah.
And it's on my messenger or something. Anyway.
Any one of you guys who are backstage should have a button that says add presentation, and add it for me if you've got the image, because I'm having a hard time finding it. If one of you can add it, load it in, I can put it on screen.
It's not on my computer though. That's the problem. It's on my phone.
It's not on my computer either.
I have.
We suck.
The audience will wait in anticipation.
I'll send it to you.
If one of you can get it up for me, that'd be great. I want to address something
that I have it.
Senior Wazowski, is that the name up here? He said something. I believe he's law enforcement or former law enforcement, and he said something that intrigued me. I want to see if he'll respond to it. Is this it right here? I have a video on my channel filing the judicial misconduct for and send it on to Hitler. What I'm wondering is, are you saying that you are starting a process to try to actually formally file some kind of judicial misconduct against Hitler? That's what I was trying to like. That's super interesting if somebody is starting that process, but I wasn't sure if I was understanding what you were saying correctly. So if you can clarify that for me, I'd appreciate it. And we're about to get into the Idaho 4, and I'm going to have to explain some things to you before we do that. Did anybody get that image or no?
I have it only on my phone. I can try to see if I can pull it up and send it to you.
It's not.
Amanda just said she'd send it to you.
All right. The problem with sending it to me is then I have to go get it. Hold on. Oh, I think she just sent. Oh, there she sent a bunch of. Oh, wow. She just sent a whole crap ton of stuff. I just got it. Okay, hold on.
Amanda hasn't heard me. Amanda, for what it's worth, coming from me, you're super talented, and then people know.
I put it in the Minions chat on Discord.
Hopefully this will be worth the wait, but I need to load it real quick now.
Robin looks sensational. I sure as hell hope you get it up. I love how Robin looks in that graphics too.
Why, thank you.
Phrasing, sir.
Superhero.
I can't take credit for that. That's all Amanda.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She crushed it.
She crushed.
You never. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I got it loaded now as an asset, and let's see if I can show it to screen, and hopefully it'll be a big enough. That's not it. We got to remove this for a moment, and then we got to add this. There it is. Let me pull some stuff off. Let me get the chat off your face. I don't know if you can see it real well. I don't have the blown up pictures.
I sent it to you. I put it in the Minions.
I just don't know if I'm going to show all the blown up pictures. But Amanda's got these creative characters. PSYOP man. You got Estes in the lower left corner. Myself as Lucifer. That's a nickname I picked up when I was a young man in college. It was just a joke. Robin as the queen behind the scenes, and then we've got the State of the Deep, JJ State of the Deep. He writes as JJ on the State of the Deep Substack. 1-1 King of Clips, Vampire King of Clips, I think is one point it says. So anyways, very cool stuff. It's kind of funny. I think we're going to do something with this for fun, shits and giggles, coming up here shortly. So
why not?
Anyway, let's get into the Kohberger stuff a little bit now that Joe's here and we can do this. And I'm going to add this to stage and remove this from stage. And I'm going to go to this. And
let me make a comment while we get into the Idaho 4. Did you guys know apparently on Christine Randall's YouTube channel, I think that's her name. She's got a massive YouTube channel and podcast. Kohberger is getting money from the ladies in jail, if you believe he's in prison. Isn't that something?
Yeah. By the way, it looks like we got a new member that signed up. Thank you so much for that. For that $2.99, you're going to get all kinds of raw footage of our trip coming up, which is starting tomorrow. It's going to be super exciting. So hopefully, now granted, I don't know that I can upload raw footage while we're out and about. It may have to be when we get back to the hotel room that night or whatever to upload footage. But then Robin will work on getting it the next day. But I will keep people up to date on our Discord channel as well. So make sure, Robin, you get people help with the Discord channel so they can follow that feed as well. So let's talk about Brian Kohberger. And I want to say this. I got some pieces today that are precursors to big shit coming down the pike. I mean, big shit. Part of it is I'm a little bit nervous because it's Veterans Day. And we're talking again about Brent Copaka. And I know some of you lose your ever-loving mind when we talk about Brent Copaka. One of the things that people have said is that DA, from day one, you've said, I think Brent Copaka is linked to this. I've said it over and over again. I've showed you why I think Othram Labs developed the DNA profile of Copaka's family. I think that the feds were watching Copaka. I have several different reasons why this is the case, and it hasn't fully 100 been vetted with the receipts that I want. So I keep teasing it to you in bits and pieces, of which I'm going to tease a little bit more for you tonight. Now, some of this stuff I'm hesitant to show because I don't have it to the level that I'd want. But this is Brent Copaka's obituary page, and I want to show you a little teaser video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to remove. Let's see. I'm going to remove this from stage for a minute. Let's talk for a moment while I'm removing this from stage and loading up a video process. And I need to remove that as well. Let's remove that as well. And let's go to this format. I'm going to load up a video that I want you to see. What do you guys feel like across the top? Let's go Robin, then Estes, then 1-1, and then Joe. What is your likelihood percentage? And of course, Estes believes that this is an extraction psyop event, so I'm not sure how he's going to answer that. But what is your likelihood percentage that Copaka has some sort of involvement? This is not saying he is the killer or isn't the killer, that some part of Copaka's story, that he was on the Fed's radar, that they thought it was Copaka, or he's the killer, or whatever. At some level, what percentage chance do you give that you think Copaka is going to, at the end of the day, be part of this actual story of what really happened in that house? What do you think, Robin?
I'm going to say 85% that he has some type of involvement.
That is a high
not necessarily
percentage.
that he's a perpetrator or anything, but something, I don't know, about 85%. That's my guess.
All right. What about you, Estes? I know that, as a fan of the Never Really Happened, do you have any feelings about a percentage chance?
Yes, you partly convinced me about 95% that he had something to do with it. I won't get into deep details, but probably I'm thinking maybe as a patsy, is definitely as part of a strategic tactical psyop with all this to do with the Idaho 4. And you convinced me, Lee. He's got something to do with it, DA.
Nice. I love it. See, being open-minded is the key. Just entertain the possibility that maybe we missed something, and that's the key to everything, right? What about you, 1-1? What percentage chance likelihood you think Copaka's name is going to be involved with what really happened that night?
I'm at like 99%. We just can't, we just have a few more dots to connect. I'm at 99%. The fact that this guy's phone was factory wiped, I think the evidence was right there in his phone, that he probably had connection to Copaka. whatever went wrong, that from that day with the SWAT team or whatever. I don't think the intention maybe was to take him out. I do think they had his name on the radar. I don't think Copaka was a CI or anything like that. It's possible that Kohlberger was. I don't think Copaka was. I think Copaka was friends with Kohlberger, either through the drugs or whatever, back from Pennsylvania. I do think that he reached out to Kohlberger, and Kohlberger drove him there. Whether he was just notified to do the hit, or he definitely was brought there to take action. And this guy has extensive training, from his military background with a knife. He knows how to take people out. I'm at 99%.
And I'm glad you mentioned the possibility that Kohlberger drove Copaka there. That's part of the thing I'm going to tease tonight. So that was a good segue. Unfortunately, I still need to get Joe's opinion on the percentage chance that Copaka is involved before I get into this.
So just to address this comment on the screen, how would law enforcement get around the lock on his phone? Well, they didn't. It didn't matter about any lock on his phone, because they said his phone was factory wiped. How would his phone get factory wiped?
Yeah, and you can factory wipe most phones without having to have the password. You can go through a button press mechanism and certain things to factory wipe. In addition, there's also a scenario in which Copaka could have factory wiped his own phone, but we'll save all those kind of questions for later. Joe, what is your likelihood percentage chance, if I didn't ask you, that you think Copaka's name is going to be ultimately involved somehow in what happened that night?
Yeah, I'm reluctant to say 100%, because nothing is, until you have more information, nothing is 100%. But I would say I'm 99% sure that he had some connection to it, whether it be he had direct involvement, some connection to the house, or peripheral involvement. I'm very, very confident.
I think, excuse me, if they were friends, I you know what I'm about to say. I think Copaka was probably extracted too, but I can't prove it. He's in a WITSEC program, living a beautiful life on the beach, not killed. But that's my theory.
The other thing, just to jump in real quick too, I believe I think you showed part of it in one of your recent videos that you did, that you could check out at Devil's Advocate's YouTube videos in his playlist. Copaka's, I believe, I don't remember the guy's name, but one of his close friends did an interview, where his friend basically said he wishes that he could have been there that night. He thinks he could have, probably talked Copaka down or whatnot. But if you watch that interview, he asked specifically, but what do you think about the fact that his phone was factory wiped? And he's like, yeah, it's super, makes no sense, super odd.
All right, so let's get into some of these details a little bit. I'm going to show you some information. This is more for you web sleuths out there, people who have already been researching the Copaka connection. I've got lots of videos where I tell you the reasons. Well, I even told you in a recent video where I think Copaka and Kohlberger may have met each other, and how they formed their connection, and how I think that they came from Pennsylvania together. And again, the oddity of if these two guys were in Pennsylvania at the same time and then end up in Podunk. I keep calling it Podunk, Pullman, Washington. You literally have to go there to realize how small these places are. Everything about those towns is the college, and that's it. That's the only reason it exists, is the college, and it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, there's nothing around it. So you'll understand what I mean, Joe, when you see these places for yourself, that this is in the middle of nowhere. But anyways, the point being is that I want to say careful it's Veterans Day. I have no beef with the military. This isn't about the military. Maybe it's in a way some bad timing with being Veterans Day, but we are talking about a veteran that had PTSD. We know that he had seen some shit. This has been recorded in Afghanistan, I think it was where he was at. Wasn't it Afghanistan or was it Iraq? Afghanistan. It was Afghanistan.
Yeah, I think it was Afghanistan.
Yeah.
He had seen some things. It left him shell shocked. He had PTSD. May have had a documented drug history, because a lot of military that do end up with those kind of things, they medicate. They medicate if they don't have professional help. They medicate with drugs or whatever. This is just a reality. Again, it's not trying to besmirch the military in any shape or form. That's how people cope with shit. Is they turn to drugs. They turn to whatever they can. Some of them get help, some don't. So what was going on exactly, we don't know. But I want to start laying down some receipts, some new receipts on some crazy shit that is just. It's more for you web sleuths. When I show you this, prove to me that what I'm seeing is what I see, because I might not be seeing it right. I want you to prove to me what you're seeing. What I see is what you see, and prove me wrong to make a better, play devil's advocates with my argument that I'm going to make tonight. Make me a better argument so that I can see that I missed it. Now I'm going to make an attempt to put a video on screen. We're going to hope that it plays correctly and that we've got audio to it. So let me add it to the stage. That should be it. You have a nice black screen. I'm going to hit play. And hope that you hear sound.
Did Bryan Kohberger?
Did you hear sound?
Yes.
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 Okay. I always have to double check because it seems like I suck most of the time. I'm going to rewind that for that 1 second, and we're going to listen to this. It's only 1:45. Let's listen to this.
Did Bryan Kohberger act alone, or is he possibly being set up? On December 15th at the Washington State University campus, there was an active shooter situation with Brent Copaka. We know how that ended up. This is the same event that Bryan Kohberger's dad mentioned in the traffic stops.
And what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or
there was the mass shooting and everything. Well, it's horrifying because he's going to the university. You know what I mean?
So y'all work at the university there?
I actually do work there.
There's a lot of talk right now about the Idaho 4 house being a trap house as well. Could Bryan and Brent have known each other? Is it possible they bought drugs together from this neighborhood? I've seen people also say the sheath was possibly planted. Could a former U.S. Army veteran have owned a K-bar style knife and sheath? Was the sheath dropped or planted? Did they work together and this Army veteran with severe PTSD snap? I found this extremely interesting also. This is from a Reddit thread. BK reportedly asked a neighbor whether they'd be able to kill somebody as a member of the military. In another conversation, the neighbor told CBS Morning that Kohberger asked if he had watched Netflix's Dahmer, a limited series that tells the story of a notorious serial killer's life. He said that in that conversation, Kohberger mentioned how rare serial killers are. The neighbor recalled a third conversation in which Kohberger asked whether he'd be able to kill someone as a member of the military. Everything I'm saying is allegedly and speculation. I can't wait to see what gets laid out in court with evidence and facts. But there was a lot of speculation and discussion going on. What do you think? Do you think Kohberger acted alone? Do you think this has nothing to do with the Idaho 4 case? Please let me know in the comments. In the meantime,
So one of the things I have to say is the sad part of what he said there in that video, and let me get us on screen, is I can't wait to see this go to trial. Guess what, America? We've been robbed of this going to trial. We never will see it go to trial. And I'm arguing because they're hiding what happened. They don't want you to know what really happened. That's why this never went to trial. They brought in a big shot, Hurwitz, to come in and seal the plea deal to get this so that it would never go to trial. They never wanted it to go to trial because of the stories that I'm going to start to lay out to tell you why I think that something else happened. And I'm going to explain to you, hopefully over the course of the next few months here, exactly what I think happened and what they didn't want you to see and why this was never going to go to trial. And it's sad because like this guy, I was so excited for this to go to trial because I'm like, I'm telling you, wait till you see what comes out in the documents because this is horseshit. I knew it was horseshit, but we all got robbed with the plea deal and we'll never see it come out in trial. So now we have to do it a different way. So any thoughts on that little clip before we move on?
It just made me think of something that's, I think, kind of related. For those of you who've heard me in the past talk about that book, Dark Alliance, where the CIA was involved in trafficking operations to fund the Contras in Nicaragua, who were fighting the communist insurgency, the Sandinistas, and they were actually doing deals with the Colombians to get cocaine and selling cocaine and gun trafficking in order to raise money for this operation in Nicaragua. Well, Barry Seal, who was the pilot, who's basically the guy who was responsible for transporting the coke and the guns, who was originally approached by the CIA, he was a pilot for one of the commercial airlines, former military guy. Anyway, he ends up, if you've seen the movie American Made with Tom Cruise, that's what that movie is about. Well, in the movie, at the very end, these people are after it comes out, the operation gets exposed in Congress. Barry Seal gets killed, and they pinned it on the Colombians because they got exposed because of the operations. They had cameras on the planes that were getting pictures of the key players in the drug cartel. Now, the question is, and the first question that comes to my mind, was he killed by the Colombians, or did the agency take him out because he was loose change and they needed to tie up loose ends? It's pretty easy to say, oh, he was dealing with Colombian drug dealers. Now, the reason I bring that up is if Copaka was involved in a federal operation of some sort, he could have been a loose end, right? So either one of two things, which I've said it to everybody here at some point or another, he could have been either taken out because he was a loose end, or he was extracted because of things that, you know, he may have been involved in, and he was part of an extraction. So either way, it's an operation in either case. But that just made me think about the American Made whole story and Barry Seal.
And I've started, I mean, if I'm going to do this over other videos, but if you want to go back and watch, I just recently did a couple of videos on my channel, one called Planted Evidence, talking about where I believe why Ann Taylor said she thought that they had potentially planted the evidence of the knife sheath, not maybe the knife sheath, but the DNA on the knife sheath they had planted at the scene. And I lay out why I think Ann Taylor said that. She pointed out there was a lot of, and let me tell you where I'm going with the big video tomorrow, a teaser on the big video. All of it is a video that I'm thinking I'm going to title, Let's Be Frank. And it's going back and looking at the Franks hearing. There was a big Franks hearing where everything turned on the Franks hearing. Ann Taylor stated there was Brady violations. There was exculpatory information that the law enforcement departments were lying about and hiding in this case. Hippler shot all of that down and said, you're not allowed to look at any of that. All of it's been excluded. You did not meet the standard for a Franks hearing. We're not going to talk about it. And that's when the case went to shit. They had nothing. I believe, Ann Taylor was on to the fact that the feds knew about Brian Koberger before when they said they knew about him. They may have had Brent Copaka on their radar before they said that they act like they had no knowledge of him whatsoever. I think my theory is starting to lay out that the feds were already watching Copaka before this event happened. I'm going to show you receipts eventually and why I think that's the case. And I'm going to show you that I think that they were already watching Copaka, that things went south. There may have been, as you say, an operation that went sideways, went poorly, whatever the case may be. I think there's a lot more to explain why they hid what happened in this case, how they made the connection between Copaka and Koberger and all of these things. What I want to do, though, is I want to go ahead and start with this. I'm going to pull something up on screen, and not that one, apparently. We're going to pull, let me get the right shit together. That right there, and then put on screen. Well, I got to share the right screen. Give me un momento, por favor. Share the screen, entire screen. So we're going to start with this spokesman review article. This is about an event that happened the night before the murders on the 12th at around 11:40 p.m., a hit and run accident in Pullman, Washington. Now, why is this important? I'm going to show you through several documents here just how close Brent Copaka and Koberger lived to each other in Pullman, Washington, and how it might relate in a weird way to this accident that happened the night before, just to start having you lay some groundwork. The big reveals are still coming down the road, I think. But I want to talk about this spokesman review article. Here it is from August 30th, 2023, Moscow PD Daily News. A former Washington State University student who was accused of drunk hit and run, injured 2 people, was sentenced in Whitman County Superior Court. Carmen Fernandez is the name, 19-year-old from Yakima. Allegedly what happened, and I'm going to go down here, on the evening of November 12th, she struck 2 individuals, ran them over, left them bloody in the street. I've got the video of that. I've got the video of the actual individuals bloody in the street that had just been run over when the police arrive on it. I got a little clip of that I might show for you to add context to this. Not super graphic, but if you are a little squeamish, you might not want to hear people who had just been run over by a car screaming in pain. That can be a little challenging. So don't go there if that's going to bother you, but it's a ways down the road. So I'm going to give you some heads up on that. Listen to this. There was a dark SUV involved in this hit and run. That could be potentially interesting. And we're going to talk about what happened at around 11:40 p.m. In detail. Now, I'm going to show some things on screen for you real quick. Hopefully this will come up if I do this. All right. Let's talk about the summary. This is a ChatGPT summary of what happened. What happened on the night of November 12th, 2022, this accident, the hit and run on Brandy Way in Pullman, Washington. I'm going to show you maps and then lay this out so you can understand this a little better. Around 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 12th, 2022. Again, the murders happened November 13th at approximately 4-ish in the morning. Now, there's arguments to be made that the murders may have happened around 3 o'clock in the morning. That's more shit that we'll get into later on. We may get into the bells and the chimes about what time of night it was when the murders happened, but we'll see how far we get tonight. Around 11:30 p.m. on November 12th, this is before the murders, the Pullman Police Department responded to a crash near Grove Apartments on Brandy Way. A dark-colored SUV, per witnesses and police accounts, drove onto the sidewalk, struck 2 pedestrians, a female and a male, identified in some reports as Hunter Wagner. Fucking, how many fucking Hunters are there in this case? Hunter Wagner and Caitlin Veneer, I don't know, and then collided with a fire hydrant, rupturing the water line. After the impact, and by the way, this is important for you to understand the details. Listen to this. This is from the news article as well. November 12th. The reason why why I'm bringing this up is because we're going to watch body cam footage of all the officers and dash cam videos of this exact thing. The struck fire hydrant, the 2 individuals run over, and all the body cam footage and dash cam footage is going to say it's the 13th of November. I find that fucking weird, and I haven't completely answered that. But there's no doubt the spokesman reviews that it happened on the 12th. And ChatGPT agrees it happens on the 12th. The incident happened on the 12th. Body cam footage and everything lists the 13th at a completely different time than the crime happened. So set that aside in your mind as just and again, you web sleuths out there, fucking figure that shit out. There's some weird shit there that we need answers for. But anyways, after the impact, the driver fled the scene instead of remaining and calling for help. Within a short time, police located a vehicle matching the crash description parked near Greek Row. This is in Pullman, not Idaho. So keep in mind, Pullman Pullman, Washington, and Moscow, Idaho, butt against each other for a very short distance. I think it's 12 miles max. It's a very short distance. These 2 campuses are very close. The murders happened in Moscow, Idaho. Pullman, Washington is where Brent Copaka, Brian Koberger, possibly 2 guys that came out from Pennsylvania, we'll set that aside for a minute, lived within about a block and a half of each other. I'm going to show that on the maps and show you interesting stuff about where Copaka was the night of this accident, where Brian Koberger was the night of this accident, where their cars went. It's interesting shit. And I think you should start thinking about this bigger picture about what happened. All right. 19-year-old Washington State University student Carmen Fernandez of Yakima was arrested by Pullman police for DUI, 2 counts of vehicular assault, 2 counts of hit and run with injury, and 1 count of hit and run with property damage. Her blood alcohol level was reportedly nearly double of the legal limit. Now, I want you to just set aside one possible thing. They did not see the car hit these individuals. The car fled and was found parked at another location nearby where Brent Copaka, and Brian Koberger lived. That's where the car was found, was near also these 2 individuals' homes. Now, keep in mind, because whoever struck these individuals, somebody was arrested for it. We don't know for 100% fact. This is all I want to tease. We don't know for 100% fact who was driving the vehicle. No one knows who was driving the vehicle. We know somebody was arrested for driving the vehicle, but what if it was a different person driving the vehicle? Just set that aside on your mind for a little bit. About when they found the car, sure, somebody was arrested for the drunk driving, but was it the same person that was driving the car? All right. Victims and injuries. The two pedestrians hit were treated and released from Pullman Regional Hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. According to court records, one of the victims had a laceration to their head and a concussion. The other had a broken leg and complained of back and neck pain. So anyways, that's the most thing that you need to understand. This accident happened on the 12th. It left two individuals run over. We're going to be able to see that a little bit and talk about that. And then I asked where exactly the vehicle was found. The gist of it was it was found at it was basically on Greek Row at Kappa Alpha Theta. That's what it's right there in the in my pin note. The vehicle was eventually located in Greek Row in Pullman at the house of Kappa Alpha Theta, also in the same neighborhood. Now, let's take a look at this map for a minute. What I want to show you is up at the top of this map, and I realize it's not very big, is it, for you guys? I hope that you guys can see this. Let me make it. I kind of want your reactions, but I want to make it so that people have a chance to see it. Does that help that much going to that little bit bigger, or should I just leave it where it's like?
Yeah, we could see it.
Is it better like there, or is it better like there?
Well, that's better because it's bigger. So,
all right, bigger is better. That's what. Never mind. So let's see. 1455 Northeast Brandy Way is essentially the address of Pimlico Apartments. Why is this important? In June, Brent Copaka is famously on video being approached by law enforcement officers about an incident where he may have been having some mental distress. Or it really was happening. That's the thing. Was it mental distress or was it really happening? Brent Copaka seemed to be concerned that somebody was trying to kill him, that somebody was threatening him, that they were stalking him, they were knocking on his door of his apartment. In that interview with police officers, which we won't show tonight, he says, my address is 1455 Northeast Brandy Way. I basically live at the Pimlico Apartments. He lists that as where he's living. Now, why is that important? Because at the time of the murders, Brent Copaka will be shot and killed at the Coffee House Apartments, which, by the way, if you watch the videos, those of you who are out there in the internet sleuth community, listen, that apartment on video is completely empty of furniture. There's nothing there. So many people have asked, what the hell? Was Brent Copaka, was anybody really living there? Even Darren Duncan says, when we went there was no furniture in Brent Copaka's bedroom. There was no furniture at all. Where was his bed? There was no bed. There was no dresser. All that was in the room where Brent Copaka was supposedly staying at the Coffee House Apartments was a safe that was opened, his discharge papers from the military, and some broken electronics. That's it. And somebody said, that's weird. They talked about Brent Copaka's phone was factory wiped and set on the island in the kitchen or whatever. And someone said, well, that's weird. And Darren Dunker's like, it's super fucking weird. The whole thing is weird. But what I want you to understand is this distance here is not much of a distance. This is just the distance between where the Pimlico Apartments were that Copaka was at and where the vehicle was found later on. Let's move on. Don't worry if you're not completely making all the connections. I'm just going to lay down some interesting stuff, food for thought. This, however, is the walking distance between Brent Copaka's address that he gave to law enforcement in June of where he was staying. It's 8 minutes away by foot. And that's if you take this circuitous route walking streets. If there's any kind of cutaway, whatever, it's even shorter than that. Steptoe Apartments, that's where Kohberger was staying. Brent Copaka staying at the red dot on there. It's an 8-minute walk if you follow streets and you don't cut through corners. So again, let me lay down the argument. If these two guys really did know each other from Pennsylvania, what are the odds to you that these two individuals were in the same place together in Pennsylvania and ended up in Pullman, Washington, this close to each other? And new documents that have been released from Idaho State Police show two suspects in the murder, two of them, one of which the name is redacted still and you can't see what it is. And one of them on the 5th of December has been unredacted and is Brian Kohberger. That's funny because they told us on the stand, Brett Payne from Moscow Police Department said no one knew who Brian Kohberger was or associated in this murder until the 19th of December. And yet recent documents that just got released show Brian Kohberger's name was known by Moscow Police Department on the 5th of December. That, by some people's logic, would be perjury. Brett Payne literally said, we didn't know anything about Brian Kohberger until the 19th of December, and yet on paperwork from MPD, it shows two suspects in the murder, one of which name is still being hidden. I might speculate, that's Brent Copaka. And then the other one that had been redacted or removed, I should say, and shown to us is Brian Kohberger. And I think that was a mistake on their part. For those of you who've heard, I think it's a mistake. I think they're so used to saying that we don't have to redact anymore the names of the victims or the person allegedly killed that they accidentally unredacted his name on one document that shows that they knew who he was and they were watching him on the 5th of December. And it's a huge, Huge problem in this case. All right, let me continue on. This is a picture of the Pimlico apartments from about 6 years ago. You can see by the note on here. I want you to kind of understand the structure, because when I'm going to show you this next series of images, I can't 100% vet it, but I want you internet sleuths to prove to me I'm wrong or prove to me I'm right, because I'm right in the middle of this. Pimlico Apartments. Watch this. See the way that the structure is. You've got these balconies. You've got three tiered tops here across the top, and you've got kind of like it's kind of extended out, kind of like a tower-looking feature right there. So just kind of look at that for a moment, and then we're going to move on. This is where we start to get really interesting. What you've got on this image in the upper left corner is a overhead view of Google Maps or Street View of the accident scene. And I don't know if you can see my mouse very well. I've got to learn how to blow it up, but there's the accident scene that supposedly happens at 11 o'clock at night, 11:40 on the 12th, the night before the murders that happened earlier, that later on in that the 13th. There's Copaka's address and the red dot there. There's Brian Kohberger's address right there. That walking distance is extremely low, and that's some kind of thing. There's Northeast Brandy Way. So look at how close these individuals are to this scene. Now watch this. This picture right here, allegedly taken from this accident scene that night, shows an individual which many believe is Brent Copaka. Interesting enough, he said he lived at those apartments that are right behind him. That's the Pimlico Apartments. That's the same tower you see. I'm going to show it to you definitively. That's in the lower corner as well. Some say that's Brent Copaka standing right there looking at the accident scene that night. One can argue, some have said, if Kohberger is involved at all, did he literally pick up Copaka and take him to the crime scene? They lived within walking distance of each other, and here he is potentially on camera. Now, let me show you a few things real quick to solidify.
Can you blow that up, that picture of him?
Let me see. Let me go back. Well, there's a little bit more of a blown up picture, so we're going to get to that in a second. I think we'll do it that way. If I need to, I can actually pull up the individual photos and blow it up, but it might take a little extra work. So here again, I want to show you, this is the Pimlico apartment. See this little up here? What's hard to see on this screen, and I understand it's super tiny, maybe I do need to get the original photos, is a bus stop. You can see it in the pictures down below. There's the bus stop. There's the bus stop with Brent Copaka allegedly standing right in front of that same bus stop. That is the Pimlico Apartments. That's the same apartments we see on the other slide. It's got the bus stop, and there he is in front of the bus stop in front of the Pimlico Apartments. What that means is it puts Brent Copaka at the Pimlico Apartments, not, again, the coffee house apartments. He told us he lived at the Pimlico Apartments. Now you've got a picture, it looks like, of Brent Copaka standing right outside the Pimlico Apartments where he told law enforcement in June he was living. So was he really living at the coffee house apartments, or was he living at Pimlico, and did he come out at the accident scene to take a look at this accident scene? You can see crime tape behind him, by the way, that's taped up around where the accident is at. Now here's the other part I want you to focus on. This is a picture supposedly, and I need you internet sleuths to help with this, supposedly of the Facebook page, the way that Brent Copaka is displayed. This is the icon. It's hard to see. It's a little tiny. The icon, which blown up, is this, which resembles this. Is this all the same person? Is that Brent Copaka in this picture, Brent Copaka, associated with his name, Brent Copaka? Is this all Brent Copaka? And did he really live at the Pimlico Apartments within about a block and a half of Brian Kohberger? Did they not know each other? Did something happen that night in which they maybe Brian Kohberger could have picked up Copaka? Again, the timing of the routes will make more sense as we get into deeper videos. Now, here's an actual video of the actual crime that I'm talking about. So let me see about pulling that up on screen for you. I'm going to put us back to while I pull up this video, you guys give me some thoughts so far and where I'm going with this. Are you guys like confused yet? Do you need me to clarify something while I pull up this video? I'm going to show you.
Well, the guy in the picture that you showed, just at a glance, and again, I would need to see a closer picture. Brent Copaka has kind of like a round kind of face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like his it's not a slanted, and in just that picture, which is not super clear, the person looked like they had a sharper kind of jawline.
More angular face.
A little bit. I mean, but again, it's hard to tell from that picture.
I think it was excellent research and very interesting, Lee, on your part. I was just thinking, for what it's worth, in the last 2 months, and then reinforcing with all the lies from, unfortunately, local law enforcement there in Moscow, Idaho, and a huge cover-up, I believe. I think it's disgusting that they're, it's almost, I believe, some of these articles defaming Brent Copaka. Maybe he did have PTSD, but I don't even believe that based on all the lies that we've been fed. I think he was part of a huge intelligence operation, most likely. Maybe a Fed himself after retiring from the military and did amazing service. And I don't think we should be entertaining the idea. Well, I guess people can entertain the idea, but I don't believe that he had anything to do with any murders or leaving a knife sheath. That's just my thoughts. But love your pictures and slides, and I will shut up now. And now it's time for 1-1.
Did 1-1 have something to add?
Well, I would just say his friend that did the interview did say that he was having issues with his roommates that he lived with, and he was a little, he did say that he was a little bit edgy. Like he kind of had the personality that, like, if he had a problem with you, he would be someone that would say, like, get out of my, maybe not necessarily mean it, but like, get out of my face. I'm gonna fucking kill you, or I'm gonna stab you, or say, like, he could go a little off on edge like that. So.
All right, so let's see. I'm going to play this video. Now, this is the part where I want to warn you. I don't want to over dramatize like the media does sometimes. What you're about to see is extremely disturbing, and then you see something that's fucking not disturbing whatsoever. I will caveat this, that it's graphic in the sense that you will see a little bit blood. You will see people laying in the street and crying in pain. They have recently been run over. Police are showing up on scene to people, and one lady has broken legs. You may or may not be able to see broken legs, so it could be a little bit rough if you're not that kind of person that can handle that kind of stuff. It's not super graphic. It really isn't, but your mind can paint an image that can be disturbing. What I want to show, and the reason why I'm showing it to you, is I want you to pay attention to the part that's a mystery for me. Why all of the dash cam footage and the officers' timestamps seem to indicate that it's November 13th at approximately 8 in the morning, as opposed to the time that the news says that the incident happened, which was 11:40 o'clock at night, the night before, on the 12th. Now, some indicate that when the body camera rolls over to midnight, because this event happened very close to midnight, that things would be reported as the 13th instead of the 12th. But again, I think not all of that makes sense. But I want you to see enough of the video to realize it's the same exact scene that we're talking about. It's the running over of the two students, one female, one male, that got ran over by a car, and the finding of that car later on, and Brent Copaka walking through the scene. If it's Brent, that's what I'm asking. Is it Brent? But so again, look away. Go, I guess. Why would I ever tell somebody to stop watching my stream? I guess go somewhere else and eat some popcorn. It's not terribly graphic, but again, so it's going to start out with a cop car in basically en route with no sound. So if you don't hear any sound right now, that's how it starts. It starts with the officer en route, and then quickly we're going to have audio here coming up, and I think there's the audio.
6-3, got 2 patients laying on the ground. What response do you have? Medics coming. Okay.
I saw a Jeep Cherokee driving with a busted up light.
Okay.
It looked off.
Responding units, we're looking for a Jeep Cherokee, last seen on Brandy, driving towards Valley, early 2000s.
What I want to point out, you heard the audio, correct, right?
Yes.
Well, what I want to point out is there's 2 individuals that have been run over. They do talk about the fire hydrant that's been hit and is spraying water. All of those details are in the news report. This happened at 11:40 p.m. on the 12th, that the person struck 2 individuals, ran them over, and hit a fire hydrant. That's the details. And all of that is recorded in this video, this long form video. The people crying in pain, broken legs, everything it's all the 12th, 11:40 p.m. And yet look at the timestamps. If you can see on the screen, or maybe you can watch it later. The timestamps are all from the 13th at 7:42 in the morning. That's what the timestamp looks like. 0700, right? That's 7 o'clock in the morning on the 13th. Why do we have such a huge discrepancy if this is the event that's happening on the 12th? I don't have the answer, people, so don't think that I'm ahead of you and I know the answer. I don't know the answer. I'm trying to find out the answer to why the huge discrepancy in the time. Because again, when we get into other parts of this case about time discrepancies, why are the cameras off? One, as law enforcement, can you've got some experience, right, with body cams and Axiom and stuff like that. Can you tell us?
Yeah,
Axon? Can you tell us anything?
with NYPD, we use the Axon camera, and I haven't seen any case or any issue involving anything on our end over here where the time doesn't match. So it's very, very confusing.
Well, it doesn't look like 7:42 a.m. because it would be light out.
No.
Right. I understand, Joe. I understand. That's part of my confusion is the timestamp. And I'm going to move us forward to 8:50 a.m. according to the timestamp. If I'm reading that right, it looks like it's 0850 minutes, which would be 8:50 in the morning. And I don't care. We talked about this earlier. If it's winter or not, you should have sun up by now. So I don't understand how it's still dark. So it seems to me that either the body cam footage, all of the cameras are off on the body, all of them. This is dash cam and body cam footage. So I don't understand this at all. But I want to play now, and you're going to see it briefly on screen. That individual that some say is Brent Copaka walking into frame on this thing on one of the camera. I think it's going to be in the lower right corner. I'm going to play it for you real quick.
DA, did they catch the son of a bitch that ran over those innocent people?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the 19-year-old female.
Yeah,
that
it's a female.
DUI.
Oh my God.
Allegedly.
Yeah. All right.
She denied it, right?
I don't know. Did she deny it? I didn't see if she denied it.
I think I saw the video with her, and when they arrested her and they brought her down, and she didn't seem wasted. I don't know how much after the event it was. She did not seem like someone who is 2 times over the legal limit.
All right. I'm hoping this has audio. So I'm going to play this and you're going to tell me whether you hear audio.
Take it back now. Yeah. In fact, everybody give me an ID. If it doesn't wind up back there, I'm going to charge you all with theft and you're going to go to jail.
Where you can't go. So we have just.
Okay. So they're talking about the fire hydrant and stuff like that. Do you guys hear the audio, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you have another video up here with the car that's busted up. I think they were at another location where they were finding the vehicle. Maybe that might be what was there. I know that there is a vehicle that they're talking about, and I think it's the same one. But the main thing here, they're talking about the fire hydrant and stuff like that in this part of the video. This is the person that we're saying maybe Brent Copaka walking up on scene right in front of the Pimlico apartments at that time. It doesn't last very long, so.
The water's running down, so you guys have alarms going off, so I can't have you in here because obviously we got scenes going on up there. But down in your guys' complex, I don't know.
Be a man and
and he's literally addressing him at that point. He points the officer in that frame, I think is what we hear, telling him he can't be up there, can't be part of the crime scene kind of thing, needs to go away kind of thing. So it's an interesting little clip to consider. So anyways, this is one of those just deep dives on the fly. I really want to know if anybody can explain, is that the same? Is that footage? And literally, let me show you again something on screen real quick to just verify. I mean, this doesn't prove anything, but I'm going to hit escape. All right. So the video title of this video on YouTube is 11:42 p.m. November 12th, hit and run incident, Pullman, Washington, incident number synchronizing the video, the dash cam thing. So again, this video, if you want to look it up, you can pause this video. You can go look it up yourself. Appears to be all the details match to the crime scene that they said happened that night, a hit and run right outside the Pimlico apartments, right near Koberger's place. And why am I making a big deal out of it? Well, one, because I want to know if that is Copaka there, because again, the allegation, there's many people who say Brent Copaka didn't live at the coffee house apartment. That's all a bullshit story. He didn't live there. So what the hell was he doing there? And why was he shot and killed at the coffee house apartments if he actually lived at Pimlico? Is this any kind of proof that he was at Pimlico? Can anybody explain to me why the time markers and date markers on all the cameras, dash cam, it looks like, and body cameras, or all of these? Are all of these body cameras, or is one of them a dash cam? Do you know?
I think they're all I think they're all body cameras.
Okay. So earlier you saw that in the very beginning of it, you see clearly what it looks like inside the officer's vehicle, but could it have been his body cam that he turned on, or was it the dash cam from that vehicle? Yeah. Okay. So maybe he just had his body camera. So maybe these are all body cameras, but the point being is that the time, all of them, that's 4 cameras that would have the wrong time. That's a mystery to me. And I'm not saying I know the answer, but I'm starting to get into some stuff. So anyways, for what it's worth, that's what I'd like the internet sleuths community to kind of dig into a little bit. I have some stuff about the bells and the chimes that I want to play maybe just to get your input. And we won't go too heavy into it, but I want you to get your input because, again, a lot of people have, and this is leading to my big reveal tomorrow. What is the big reveal tomorrow, right? So if you recall, several YouTube creators like Lana and Pavarotti and probably half a dozen others have talked about a time gap in the footage of body cam footage of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 26 seconds, right? Have you heard all this before? People have talked about the famous missing 1 hour, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Why? I mean, you can explain 1 hour away with the time zone or with daylight savings time. Keep in mind, the murders happened on November 13th, 2022. I believe daylight savings times switched over on November 6th. So 6th. Okay. So when I'm going to project to you or tease for you tomorrow's talk about the Franks hearing. Ann Taylor was pointing out a mysterious 7 minutes that Brett Payne wanted to hide from everybody. She calls him out. He lied about the timing because he's trying to hide 7 minutes. So now we have a discrepancy of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Is the 7 minutes and 26 seconds the same 7 minutes that Ann Taylor is saying Detective Payne is purposely trying to mislead people so that he can hide the truth of the 7 minutes? So we're gonna dive into that a little bit. And I realize this might be like way beyond a lot of people. Like, I don't understand. I get it. It's very confusing, but
I gotta jump for 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up while he's away. The mice will play the bells and whistles stuff. These 2 videos, hopefully we can get audio on these.
May I ask, did it ever come out that Brent Copaka even had a girlfriend? Like any sociability with the opposite sex or with dudes?
The rumors are he did have a girlfriend. I don't know that I could put receipts behind it that he had a girlfriend, but yes, there are certainly rumors that he had a girlfriend. And in fact, there was rumors, I think it was something I did have receipts on, that Copaka was annoyed at a couple that he knew, a friend, a male and a female, that kept trying to get him involved in a threesome with them. And he kept turning him down for wanting to do a threesome with them.
What article did that come out that said that? Do you know, or was it a law enforcement?
I do not remember it at the moment, unfortunately. All right. I'm going to put this on screen so we can get sound on this. Hopefully Joe comes back any moment. Add that to stage. Bring that full screen.
Because if you're on a covert assignment, you're not going to be socializing necessarily a lot in public in Moscow, Idaho.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go ahead and play this clip. Sans Joe, I guess. And let me know if we have... let me know if you don't hear audio. If you're silent, I'm going to assume that you're hearing the audio, and you won't. And I don't want you to talk over the audio. Only say something if you're not hearing audio and nobody's hearing anything. All right, here we go. No audio there yet, by the way.
Nothing.
That's not supposed to have audio. It's coming up. Oh, before we get on to this, what we're dealing with here, by the way, I want to say before I finish this video, what we're dealing with is a clock tower on a nearby church or whatever that you can hear on the Linda Lane footage. You can hear on several footage. You can hear it on a body camera of an officer standing outside of the King Road residence the day of the investigation of the murders. You can hear the clock tower go off. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. There's a famous chime. Everybody will know it if you've heard it. The Westminster bells. It's a very famous clock tower chime. I think it is true that the long Westminster chime bells, it plays a ding dong, ding dong, ding. It goes back and forth, and it goes for a while, and then it ends with bells that ring on the hour, and it rings 1 second apart for what hour it is. So it'll be like dong, dong, dong 3 times for it's 3 o'clock. And so the chimes happen first, the dongs then happen. No pun intended. The dongs then happen, and then they're about 1 second apart. What we're going to hear is, for example, a body cam footage that's during the day, and you'll hear part of the Westminster bells, the long video, and then the dongs that I want you to count for the timing. But then later on, you're going to hear at 3 o'clock in the morning, you won't hear the Westminster bells. You'll just hear the dong. I know, it's great. I love this word. I can't get
count
over
the dongs, everybody.
Count the dongs. Everybody at home, count your dongs. But the point being is that I think I verified this, many times they'll turn off the Westminster bells for late night things, so they don't bug the piss out of the neighbors with the long chimes going on at night. So it's another indication that the dongs that you hear at 3 a.m. don't have the Westminster bells in front of them, because it's so early in the morning they don't want to annoy the hell out of everyone in the neighborhood with the big long thing. All right, so let's go on again with. This is, I think, Lana from Truth and Transparency talking about, I think this is going to be the body-worn camera. You're going to see an officer. Audio is going to come on. You're going to see an officer outside the 1122 King Road residence. And I think the timestamp's going to tell us it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but you're going to hear 4 dongs, or it's the other way around. But watch this. I think I'll tell you right here. After the Westminster melody, it chimes 3 times, but the clock's going to tell you it's a different time. It's going to say it's 2 o'clock. All right, here we go. Oops, I need to pull it up on screen, don't I? Let me get it back on screen again. Bzz. Okay, it's still playing, no audio. Vehicles entering the King Road neighborhood are circling around Queen apartment. Why didn't we hear any clock chimes on the 1112 camera next door around 4 o'clock in the morning? Okay, here we go. There's the Westminster chime bells. The time is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it starts at the top of the hour, and the bells go for a while. Okay, count the dongs. All right, so 3 dongs, but the time says it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the actual time, the local, is either 3 o'clock, or they forgot to change the church bells over to the local time. Whatever the case may be, there's a discrepancy between the two. You caught that, right?
Yep.
All right, let's go watch this one. Do I have audio on this tab? I think I might have to share this tab. Each thing I have to share, I think I have to share it again to get the audio on the tab. So give me one moment to pull this up. And this is going to be called University of Idaho campus. Okay, it's this one right here. All right, let's pull that on screen. All right. Another body cam footage of 1113 provides further proof that the campus bell tower clock was not set 1 hour back for daylight savings times change. It's 1 o'clock, and although we can't hear the Westminster chimes melody that precedes the hourly chimes, because Lana is talking. By the way, if you listened very, very carefully while Lana from Truth and Transparency is talking, she says there you can hear the bells. You can hear that. If you can train your brain to hear over top of her, you will hear the Westminster chime bells behind her talking. But they're saying you can't hear it because she's talking over it. All right. Is it playing? Yeah, it's playing. Hold on.
I gotta go to church.
Am I playing the right one? Come on. Didn't think of that. Here it is.
I think Tina with What the Fuck Transition Services needs to write a book. You guys hear the bells? It is 1 o'clock in 40 seconds when that went off. One. So I think it's off like 40 seconds.
Hey Siri.
Hey Siri, what?
So there was the two bells. She said it's 1 o'clock. You heard two dongs if you're counting the dongs. And then
Two dongs.
I thought I had two dongs, and I thought I had one more clip. Did I miss it? Let me go back to my slide real quick. Where am I going with all of that? The point being is that there's a discrepancy, right, between there are those who claim and have always claimed the murders happened around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or not in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the morning instead of 4 o'clock in the morning, and that things have been altered to try to show that it happened at 4 because that's the timing they have of certain cars coming into the area, and that's the story they wanted to tell, the Brian Koberger story, and so they manipulated the audio and stuff like that. That's the allegations. I thought I had one more video, but I guess I don't. That showed the Linda Lane footage with the dongs. Hold on. I'm going to take one attempt to find it real quick because I think who has, by the way, gathered a lot of this research for me so I could show it tonight. I think you gave me the Linda Lane footage dongs.
I think you have to name this episode the Dong.
The Return of the Dongs. Give me one moment. See if I can find one's submission. Bells and Bodycam.
Hey Joe, is there a way I could get a backdrop similar to like just some sort of graphics as well behind me instead of always the same, or no?
If you do like the green screen setting, you can do it through StreamYard, and you can upload a background.
A little background. Maybe I'll ask Lee really nice if he could help me do that someday.
Man, I ain't helping you with shit.
Oh,
It's really easy, man. You could do it on X for free.
I don't even know. It took me a while just to find you on X. I'm inept. But
well, if you use Grok on X, you could have it make you a background. You tell it what to say and how you want it to be designed, and it can make some backgrounds. I did this one on a different some stupid paid AI thing. It's like an AI generator. Well, like you buy credits and then it'll give you so many points or whatever. And sometimes you have to go through a bunch before you get one that you like.
Right on. Thanks for the answer. I was looking over here because on my TV it shows us larger on my TV. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
One. Do you? I mean, I'm going to give up on this because I can't find that thing. I know I saw the Linda Lane footage where the sound of the dongs, or it must be a much bigger dong because it's much deeper in sound. So apparently that dong at that time of the morning is a bigger dong. But the point being is that, and it doesn't have the Westminster Chang bells because of the time of the morning. I think. Do you
There's
have
a lot
that
of dongs
link?
flying around?
Yeah,
on this
I mean,
episode.
I want to show the big dongs on the camera if I can, but do you have that link or not?
You're killing me, DA, today. Oh, it's hilarious. Just over and over.
I'm a toddler. I can't help myself. I really have like a 15-year-old's mentality. It is what it is.
That's fantastic. Young soul.
I didn't. I didn't put it in the folder, or
I couldn't find it. So maybe if you, I mean, I'm under pressure. I'm under pressure, sir. I'm on camera. I'm trying to perform. I told you I've got performance anxiety. The point being, what I want to make to all of you is that as I was looking into the allegations of the missing 7 minutes, I was searching through documents again, and you know how it is when it's been months and months and you've been researching the case and you've learned a bunch of stuff. Sometimes you don't realize how much an earlier document that you read and dismissed changes now that you know everything. So I went back and I was looking for the 7 minutes where Ann Taylor said, "Hey, look, there's a missing 7 minutes we need to talk about." I had a clip of Ann Taylor telling Judge Hippler, "We need to talk about the 7 minutes." And I'm like, okay, hold on. I need to go back in the documents and find where Ann Taylor talks about the 7 minutes. In the Franks hearing, she flat out says, this is the argument that she's going to lay out. Brett Payne lied about. This is what she's essentially saying. Yep. Brett Payne, the lead detective, lied about when Brian Kohberger's phone lost connection with the cell tower to make it look like it was happening at a different time because he wanted to hide 7 minutes. The reason why he wanted to hide 7 minutes, for many of you who know this, is because Cy Ray, an expert on timing advance records, was going to come in and tell you that the 7 minutes show that Brian Kohberger's car was moving in the wrong direction to be heading towards the kill scene. He wasn't heading to Moscow, Idaho. He was heading to Wawaway Park, the direction he said he was heading, and that they were going to show that. But that they lied and manipulated is the allegation. And Ann Taylor was trying to lay it out, that they lied to hide 7 minutes because they didn't want you to see the 7 minutes that showed Brian Kohberger's car phone pinged twice in that period of time, showing the direction of travel, and it was the wrong direction. And so they just decided to hide that by lying about when the car or when the phone was switched off to hide the 7 minutes. That's the gist of the big reveal tomorrow. But when I was going through the documents to see where Ann Taylor said, look, they lied about 7 minutes of this thing, because I'm like, is that the missing 7 minutes? Is 1 hour explained by the whole daylight savings time snafu, but is the 7 minutes to hide Kohberger's path of travel? That Cy Ray, by the way, Hippler called Cy Ray a conspiracy theorist. That guy wrote the book on timing advance record. He literally is not just an expert. He is the expert in the world, probably, on timing advance records. He is the expert. He writes the book. He writes the software that the police departments actually use to analyze timing advance records. He was going to come on, and I've hit this before, for the first time in his entire career, ever, on behalf of a defendant to say, you're lying about Brian Kohberger. That's not what happened, and I know it, because I know how timing advance records work, and you're lying about what happened there. He was going to come on and say that. And you know what Hippler did? Hippler called him a conspiracy theorist. The leading expert in timing advance records. He called Hippler a conspiracy theorist and didn't find his testimony to be necessary to even hear at the trial. Even though it was gist of Ann Taylor saying, you guys have decided that Brian Kohberger is going to be planted for this case, and they're going to make all the evidence fit. Ann Taylor laid out, and I'm going to cover this in my video, I think tomorrow too, if I can stay up long enough to do this. She covered as well. The PCA, the probable cause affidavit that was used to arrest Brian Kohberger, was a living document. That's what she got Brett Payne. That's what she got Brett Payne to admit on the stand. Here's the kicker. I cannot repeat this enough. Ann Taylor got him to admit they never observed that the white Elantra was missing a front license plate initially. After they found out Brian Kohberger was their lead suspect, and after they found out he was from Pennsylvania, and after they found out that his car didn't have a front license plate, they then wrote in to the working document, it was observed that he had no front license plate, so that they could car there. And they went to a magistrate with that information saying, we observed a car with no front license plate circling the neighborhood. And that magistrate said, sounds good to me. It sounds like you got your guy. Go arrest him. That whole thing was a lie. Ann Taylor pointed it out. You didn't even know Kohberger's name until the 19th, correct? You didn't observe him with no missing front license plate. And you know what Brett Payne's answer was? Well, it wasn't meant to be deceptive. It was just a clerical error. Yes, it's true. It was a working document. Yes, it's true. We didn't know he was missing a front license plate. Later on, when we found out it was Brian Kohberger and he was missing a front license plate, we went back and wrote it into the PCA, but there was no deception at hand. We weren't intentionally trying to deceive anybody. It was a working document. It was always being revised. No deception on our part. And Hippler bought that. There was no intentional lies about law enforcement to do this. It was just a little clerical error. No big deal. Proceed with the arrest of Brian Koberger when the whole thing was basically fabricated. They wrote it in after they knew who their guy was. And it's a big deal. So anyways, as I went through the Franks hearing, I realized about freaking 5-6 times that Ann Taylor calls out Brett Payne as being the center behind major pieces of information, basically hinting that they wanted Koberger bad for this, and they did all kinds of weird, shady shit with the evidence to get a probable cause affidavit to arrest him. Then when Othram Labs couldn't develop a DNA hit to him, they found a way to get it to him through other nefarious reasons that they won't show you how they did it. And she was going to lay that whole case out, except for Hippler said, you're not allowed to talk about any of that. None of it. Not relevant. Not relevant. You can't prove that law enforcement was trying to do something shady, so we're just not going to talk about it. So I'm going to start to lay that out and read through the document, the actual Franks hearing with highlights of where Ann Taylor says, this is what Brett Payne did. This is where he lied. This is where they lied. This is where you lied again. And kind of walk you through that to say, how did the judge, in this case, Hippler, decide that none of that was relevant? Anyways, that's my thought.
I got something to add to you, if I can, real quick. So, being the fact that we covered the 7 minutes and 26 seconds. For those who may be aware, or some people who are kind of new to some of the stuff going on, and that's what we were trying to piece together, this whole thing, all these little parts, make everyone aware that so Rosenthal and Tisdale, our great undercover officers who were in the area, just happened to sign out for the night on 11/13 at 3:52 and change. And if you add the 7 minutes and 26 seconds exactly, brings them right to 4 o'clock, which would be the full 8-hour tour. Just to put it out there.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of shit to think about. And again, I want to make sure you are clear in case anybody has mistaken this. Devil's advocates. XYZ YouTuber's been talking about this for 2 years. I get it. I'm not saying any of this is new. What I'm saying is, as we're starting to piece it all together and tell a coherent story, I'm seeing also additional pieces that reinforce these questions that have been there for a long time. Why the missing 7 minutes? Why the missing 1 hour and 7 minutes? I'm starting to look at it and see new connection points to add with my allegations that I think they knew who Copaka was. They were watching Copaka. As we all start to tie it up together, I think it's going to make a really compelling story that, to me, again, as I say tongue-in-cheek sometimes, is a lot more compelling story than some incel that couldn't get laid in Pullman decided he had to kill 4 out of 6 people and leave a couple survivors behind because he couldn't get laid, and he must have been obsessed with Maddie, who there's no proof he ever saw her. I mean, the whole story. Does that really make more sense than what we're going to lay out? We'll see.
When you say excuse me, DA, when you say who's watching, they were watching Copaka. Do you think it was a drug task force? Have you given it thoughts? Is it just regular law enforcement, do you mean? Or what do you think?
I do have thoughts, and it's a little early to lay it all out. But sure. I will say this. Along your lines, I will say this. There was a multi-jurisdictional drug task force operating at the time. The FBI was there. The marshals may have been there. Homeland Security was there. ISP, Idaho State Police, was there. Moscow Police. There was a multi-jurisdictional drug task force operating in the area. I think that task force, and I'll tease, I think the feds were watching Copaka in relation to that. And I'm not going to give all my story about why, but I think that is part of it. Yes.
Thank you. And I would add to that, as we've talked about before, I think it's clear they were watching 1122 King Road. Steve G again admitted there was surveillance around the house. So I think when you think about it long hard, that I can't see again gangbangers or cartel members being able to go in there successfully and actually do this, and that's partly why I think an extraction took place. But anyway, just put it there.
Yeah, no, and I think the extraction thing is something to definitely. Here's the good thing about the extraction thing is I want to kind of wrap up our show. I was going to do some Charlie Kirk stuff tonight, but this took 2 hours to talk about Idaho 4, as I kind of was afraid it was going to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to say that in some regards, Jason, in some regards, I'm hopeful, that it's a witness extraction thing, because then you don't have 4 college students horrifically murdered. They're actually alive. Brian Koberger isn't really put away for something he didn't do because he's part of the operation and he's alive. Copaka maybe even wasn't tragically shot and killed for no reason. Maybe he's alive. And then in a way, that would be maybe some comfort. But the problem with it is that means the entire nation was fucking lied to and run through an emotional gauntlet of hating each other and fighting each other and calling each other names over something that never fucking even happened. And that would be a disgusting travesty in my opinion. So on the one hand, I can see like, man, I hope you're kind of right. Maybe nobody died. Maybe it's all just a, shame on you. You bought it. But the mind fuckery that would have, and the amount of lies that they've told the entire nation, including making movies about it if it didn't happen, would disgust me to the pit of my soul.
So
well, that's how the game is played.
Yeah, that's how the game is played.
Right?
We're providing truth.
That's how the game is played. I mean, we're lied to about everything. I mean, nothing is what it seems. I mean, we're at the point now in society where the trust in the government is so low, and all these different major events, more as years go by, more and more information comes out about them. And maybe in how long has it been since 9/11? It's been 24 years. Maybe in 24 years we'll start finding out information about operations that were going on in that area, because
that's the way it usually happens.
National
right?
security, right? They can say
Yep.
whatever they want. They can lie. The government can legally lie to the public. We talked about Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. So in this case, the only thing I'm sure of in this case, because it's so crazy, is that there was an op of some kind. I'm positive about that. I'm 100% positive. And if we had 3 more hours, I could explain to you why I'm certain of it. But a dude who doesn't have a history of violence does not go into a house and brutally stab 4 people who had no connection to them.
No, the ex-FBI agent, oh my God, now I forget her name for the first time ever. She tells you that Brian, it was festering in him for years.
Right, of
and
course.
he had to do it.
Right.
That's her.
Yeah,
Right.
I've read all the books and all the bullshit, fictional shit that they write about it. But I know better, and it's forensic psychology 101. If it's a really brutal, violent crime, 99.99999% of the time, it indicates that the killer knew the victims. And if one is more brutally murdered, it indicates that they had something personal with that. So right out of the gate, that is, I washed that right from the beginning when I found out more about Koberger early on. But the question is, why have we been so consistently lied to about details in this case? Is it because it's just some little podunk town, college town, and they're trying to cover some things up that maybe aren't that significant? But to me, by everything we've talked about, the fact that there was a drug task force, the fact that from day one there were rumors about that house being a drug house, right? I mean, literally from day one. It's just too many coincidences for it not to be an operation of some sort. And, operations go sideways sometimes, and people have to be taken out of the equation as to simplify things. So that's why this is such a convoluted situation.
Where people, as you know, have to be removed. And again, I think it was a staged crime scene. Then you see the show trial where the prosecution, we're educating people, they can do anything they want. Anything. They can seal records. Yeah. We saw all that. And again, the feds can also legally stage a violent event, fake deaths. It sounds wild, but it does happen. And we didn't see any evidence that this crime took place. But I know I'm sounding like a broken record. I'll continue to say it.
Let me leave this last little drop here. if it was an extraction, which I think it's very possible based on all the different things that I have seen that point to it in some way. Maybe Copaka knew something about that operation, that an extraction operation was going to take place, and maybe he was going to reveal information that the government, the feds, did not want to get out, and they figured out this guy's got PTSD. We can easily frame it as if he was just some guy who was threatening to kill people. I give credence to PSYOP Man's theory that it could have been an extraction, because I mean that video of the Gonzalez's, man, that was, I mean, that really makes you think.
Olivia in particular?
No, the one where
the one with the Maddie buying a house.
Maddie just bought a house.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
She stops herself. It's pretty obvious. She deliberately stops herself from, like, oops, I let something slip. And Steve Gonzalez's face is like, wait till we get off camera.
I'm gonna light you up, like.
For what it's worth, if I can get help from one of you.
Gray is there.
Yeah, if I can get help from one of you, if you didn't mind, I'd like to show that clip if I attempt a live.
Yeah.
One of my lives, if you don't mind, or just a video. But a live would be kind of cool if I could do that, if you didn't mind.
Yeah, and if we should do it on our show sometime too. Like if you want to do it on your own, but yeah, we should definitely show that clip for everybody, because we talk about it too many times now to not show it.
And
a clip that Pavarotti will never show you. He's never shown you to this day. We'll beat him to it. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to add a little something to going back. We always seem to go back to the 911 call. Just for some food for thought, think about, I know everyone, we keep kind of victim shaming Dylan and Bethany and whatnot. Yeah. Think about, like, other than, even if it is some kind of psyop, which still could be in this scenario, I pretty much believe 99.9%, and the evidence is there. Rosenthal went to that house. He was there at 11:22 after 3 a.m. Is it possible that there's a delay in the 911 call because the police were already there?
Like that.
They already were involved. They were already there. I'm not saying. To be clear, I'm not saying that Rosenthal, if it's not a psyop, I'm not saying necessarily that he murdered anyone, but he was right. He was right there. And remember, Kaylee and another key, Kaylee and Maddie's phone go silent at 2:54.
So we're told, yes.
So we're told on the info they get that has been given to us. There's no activity on their phone. So Rosenthal and Tisdale, they're a key in this whole thing. And I believe, as Lee said before, since Payne was the lead detective given this spot role, whatever, he was like the master manipulator with this. He knows that whether Rosenthal had something to do with what happened or not, he knows that these guys were there and they're doing whatever they can. And that's really what I believe the 7 minutes and 26 seconds that's missing probably would show some of that. I think it also, if I recall, when they're tracking Kohlberger's car from the beginning, there's also a period in the beginning that they kind of lose track of him. How did they lose track of him in the beginning from when he first leaves? Because I believe that it would show that he stopped off right where Copaka is, right there, and would make us believe that he picked Copaka up, and they don't want us to see that. And it's the same for when he returns in that area. All of a sudden the car vanishes. They can't track it, which I think is horseshit.
Yeah. So A lot of big thoughts in the case. I'm glad that people stuck through what doesn't have a conclusion, as this case doesn't have a solid conclusion yet. I am actually kind of hopeful in some regards that something's going to break in this case. I know it seems, I've said it before, the case is over. He pled guilty. There's not going to be a trial. What are we even talking about it? And yet, the more stuff that comes out, the more I'm starting to get to think that something might actually change. There's some weird shit coming out that's making some big questions, and somebody with the clout needs to step forward and ask the right question, and it's gonna shake everything up, I think. But so we'll see. Thanks for my panelists coming on tonight. I really appreciated all the discussion. It's a long one tonight, so I'm going to let everybody go home because some of us have a lot of shit to do tomorrow, and I'm already running out of time. So thank you, everyone. Again, one more plug for what's going to happen. Joe and I, State of the Deep, we're going to go on a road trip. We're going to film some stuff for you. If you want some raw footage of that, it could be great shit. It's going to him and I talking to pretty, not that anybody here doesn't also have great minds, but Joe and I have some great minds. I think we're going to have some great conversations. I think you'll enjoy that. You'll get raw footage. If you want to sign up, we'll stick a lot of raw footage behind the scenes for members only. It's only $2.99. Tonight, we've had a couple people sign up for that deal. So hopefully you'll check that out. If not, wait till we get to some editing done, which will be days from now when we're back and we put all the editing footage together. We'll put something out there for free for everyone. So thanks,
and there'll
everybody.
be a very special video that DA and I create, which we can't tell you about now. We'll have to surprise you with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool shit in the works. So stay with us.
By the way, the astronauts, excuse me, on that PSYOP that you excellent interview you guys did, Joe brought it up that they faked a lot of coverage. I will say yes, they did. I will admit it. I have a defense contractor friend. Look out. And the astronauts made it to the moon. They used a different technology to get back. The astronauts were loaded on drugs in the press conference because they were off-world. It did happen. The moon landing was not fake. That's all I got to say. Thanks, everybody. I know I'm off. The
PSYOP guy comes in and drops the bomb that the moon landing wasn't faked. Like what?
Wait a minute. He's controlled opposition.
Yeah, wait. I got one statement.
Get him
I
off
got one statement to end with. Pretty much.
Yep,
pretty much. Yeah. We'll save that for another night. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Everybody.
No, I'm not. Never.
All right, later.